Got it. Okay. So, the question you had was, what's the number one way to get new students? And if I had, my family was taken at ransom and I had to pay them back in the quickest way possible and I had to do it signing up martial arts students. And I was given, just basically the metric of doing it in the fastest time possible. I would 100% just run ads to a 2-page funnel, and I would show I would take a piece of the process. So let me jump in here to my little drawing board. So if you look at your process, can everybody see my screen okay? Yeah? Okay. So a lot of people would say, oh, well, I would just get out there and, I would just, hassle people and run around with clipboards and get leads and do all that stuff. So that's great and everything, but I can touch more people than you can in a given time period. So even if you did do that, you would need an army with you. I'm talking about by myself. If I had to get as many students as I could in the shortest amount of time, what I would do is I would take my process and I would ask myself, okay, who is, first of all, the absolute best person for my offering? And I would say, what problem do I solve? Okay. And once I figured that out, I would figure out what it is from that person wanted to get to from A to B. Okay. So over here, maybe they're not confident. Over here, they're overweight. Over here, they're depressed. Over here, they want to learn defense for maybe fighting in a competition or bullying, whatever it may be. Okay. I would figure out what that change is that they want to have, the actual transformation. And then what I would do is I would lay out what my curriculum was. I would say, okay, this is what we do first, and this is what we do last. If I'm teaching something, okay, whatever it may be, I would be teaching a certain framework, just like we do. You can't get an apple until the trunk grows, and you can't get an apple until the trunk grows branches. So you can't get an apple until these other things happen first. There's just no way around that. And so just like your course and anything else, it would be the same way. If a student came in and said, well, yeah, I know there's this other stuff. I just want to learn how to use the sword. Well, this isn't going to work, right? So they got to go through this process. What I would do is I would take the shiniest object in my process here. Let's say for me, if I run out there right now to my email list or to the marketplace and say, hey, here is a script that you can use that every time you talk to a student, it's going to close 1 out of 5 over the phone, paying you without having to do a free trial or bring them in first or anything. That's a shiny object. How to run Facebook ads, retargeting, how to set up, any kind of funnel or anything. Those are all shiny objects. I would take the shiniest object that I have, so a piece of my training, and I would go and I would create a little cheat sheet or PDF or something like that shows how to set up a Facebook ad for martial arts. And I would just kind of have like a little process map, because see, when you're lost in the woods, you're looking for a map. When you're lost with depression or you're lost with weight loss, you're looking for a map, not somebody to tell you a bunch of stuff. You're not looking for a tell me, you're looking for a show me. And you're looking for something that's going to basically prove out that you actually do know what you're talking about. It doesn't matter if you're wearing a black belt. I could be a black belt instantly. I can get one off of Amazon, an outfit and everything, and walk around and act like it. So the thing is people realize that, and that's where they're like, prove it to me. Show me. So what I would do is I would take my shiniest object. I would show a little process map. I would show them a map. You're over here. Don't know how to do ads. Over here, you're going to know how to do ads. But here's the thing. If I just show you how to do ads, which is step 8 in our process, it's not going to work for you. And this is the problem, because people sell how to do ads, then they sell how to do funnels, then they sell how to do emails, then they sell how to do retargeting, all this stuff, but it doesn't work by itself. And so people try it and it doesn't work, and they go, it didn't work, and so they're scared of it again to try it or do anything like that. But you can't just have the wheel, and you got to have the rest of the car too. So what I would do is pull the shiniest object out. I would give that away as a PDF plus a free training that goes with it. Now you're like, Mike, I teach in person, and we can't teach martial arts over the internet and everything like that. I totally agree. I totally agree with you, and I hear it all the time. They're like, I'll put my digital black or my in-person taught black belts up against your physical black belts. I'm like, well, that's not what we're doing here. What we're doing here is we're giving them a piece of the pie. If you want to be a cocaine dealer and you need customers, what do? You go around and you lay out a line and you let them try it, and now you have a new customer. So that's what you're doing here. Martial arts has been doing this for a long time. They've been doing the free trial. They've been doing the, here's what we got to do, and here's how it works, and let's get excited and break this board and go into the gym and get them pumped up. They've been doing this cocaine trick for a long time. The problem with it is not that it doesn't work. It takes this thing from you that you can't get more of. And so when we take and do something like this, it can basically do the same thing, because when you go into the gym and you get the kids pumped up, or you go to the fair, or you go to the booth, or you go to these places, you're not touching them anyway. You're just showing them something. Very seldom do you touch them, ever. Okay? And so all that can be done right here in a video, and it's not a theory we're going about here. I just got off the phone with a client today, Barry, and they've got 47 clients this month doing this. Okay? So it works. And so they take a piece of their pie that's the best, okay, and they give them a little chunk of it, and they teach it on a video in about 10 minutes, and they teach it just like they would teach it if they paid full ticket for it. Because when you go test drive a Porsche, they don't give you the old clunky rusty one that's a Porsche to test drive it to see if you like it. They give you the brand new shiniest one they have, and they get you in there and they say, floor it, and, go around the corner and hit those brakes and turn on the stereo and listen to this. And that's what gets you into it. So what I would do is I would figure out, who am I going after? What problem am I solving? What is the transformation that they want? People always say they don't want the drill, they want the hole. Well, they don't want either of those things. They want what the hole will do for them. Maybe they bought a drill to get a hole to hang their daughter's picture so that they could be a hero in their daughter's eyes. That's why they actually wanted it. So people are like, features and benefits, but it's really not about features and benefits. I don't care about the features and I don't care about the benefits. I care about what my life is like because of those things. And so we're talking about all these things, and that's not what people want. Okay? And so what I would do is I would go to Facebook and I would go to YouTube, because those are the cheapest and most targeted and most effective ads right now. And I would create a video ad, and I would also create a picture ad on Facebook. And that picture would just be a picture of this little PDF roadmap that I got. In this video right here, I would just do this, which is what I do. I would say, you see this roadmap right here? It's the ultimate lead magnet formula for martial arts business owners. It's a 5-part process. I'm going to give this to you and train you on it. Click this ad right here, and let's go check it out. That's what I would do in this ad. And then in this ad, I would just say that, and then I would send them to a page, and guess what's on this page? The same picture of the thing that I was showing them. Okay, we call it ad sent. And then I would just ask for their name and their email. The headline that I used here and the headline that I used here would be the same headline I use here. It's real simple. And then I would get their email. They would go on to an email list that has a 27-part follow-up sequence. Why 27, Mike? Because anything can be broken down into 9 steps. Each one of these 9 steps can be basically fleshed out into having 3 actions that they need to take, 3 major ones. And yes, there's more to the process, right? So in your step 3 of your curriculum, there's more than 3 steps, but you could boil it down to 3 steps, and we could just teach that. And what do I teach on that actual video? So they go onto the email list. This 27-part follow-up email list, all this is just emails walking them through my entire system, all of it, and just each email is one of the steps that they got to do. I can give people my entire course, and they still can't figure it out sometimes. They're sure as hell not going to figure it out in a few emails. But what it will do is get them addicted to cocaine. And so what happens then, they can get into the course and we can become friends, and I can show them step by step and support them for life to get that answer for them. In this video, I have a button right here, and then I have a button right here. This button is to download the PDF that I uploaded to Google Drive that they can download for free. And it's just a basic breakdown. I just show on here what's involved, okay? And you would do the same thing, and I'm going to give you an example of this that I have already on this screen. This button goes to the next page, which is a page for them to schedule an appointment with me so I can take them through the rest of the process and share with them and get them clear on a roadmap and a strategy. And then on this final page, it just says, hey, your appointment's been scheduled. I can't wait to talk to you at the time that you scheduled it. This whole thing has a pixel running on it, so it keeps educating my ads to find more people like the people that made it to this page and this page, because we put event codes here that says, hey, this page means we generated a lead. Go find more people like those people. This page means we generated an appointment. Go find more people like those people. This is Calendly on this page. This is a Wistia video. This is Activecampaign. These are all the components of the tools that we use to do this. And this is what I would do, and I would run ads to it. Because if you do this process right here and you follow our script that we give you in step 6, step 4 is this process that we're talking about now, the lead magnet. Step 5 is how to create this video and the framework that we use so that it converts at 5% on average. If I spend $1,000 that month on ads, or roughly $30 a day, I will get ads for less than $10. $10 is really high, but I don't want to give you like fake numbers here. Typically, I'm getting leads for around $3 to $5. But if I spend $1,000 and I got leads at $10, that means I'd get 100 leads. Okay? Out of those 100 leads, my video converts, and so would yours, because we'd be doing the same thing, at about 5%. So I'd get 5 people on a call, 5 people that have been vetted and filtered, because they have to fill out a little short survey here that tells me if they have money, why they want to be a client, why they want to do this, what their problems are, and I review that prior to getting on the call. And so we'd have about 5 of those people by the time it all was said and done. And using our script, you're going to close 1 out of 5. So you have to be 1% right to win. Now, here's where the people get in trouble. They're selling their process for $150. What do you charge right now, Adam? $45 a week. Okay, so you're about $120 a month or something. About 160? 40. Good. You're real good then. So we've got a calculator that shows, your average client, at least ours, stays for around, I just say 12 months. It's closer to 16. But if they stay for 12 months at, let's just say 150, it's $1,800. Okay, so that's the long-term play of your client. Yours is actually a little bit more, closer to $2,400, which is good. If you spend $1,000 and you're picking up one client for every $1,000 you spend, at the end of the year, you're in good shape. In the short term, you're kind of scared a little bit. So as long as you can keep your clients for more than 3 months, you'll usually pay back your ad spend, but you got to have enough oxygen to keep you underwater that long. But if this number just changes to 5, now we get 200 leads, and now we're signing up 2 people for every 1,000. So now we're making 300 for every 1,000 if we're just doing this 150 thing. But by the 3rd month, we're in profit mode, and now we can start sticking that money back into the machine, and it'll start basically self-fueling. So this is what I would do, because I can reach more people faster. I can save this stuff, which is really important, this time stuff, and I can vet tire kickers and filter all that stuff out. And here's the better part of it. When you do this follow-up sequence right here, the great thing is you're going to convert, if you do it correctly, and it's not hard, you just got to set it up, you'll convert just about another 10%. And that's where the real money's made. Fortune's in the So once you set it up, it works without you, so you can get back to doing what it is that you want to be doing. Okay? Like right now, one of our clients, the Barry that I just talked to this morning here, he's working on his exit strategy. He made the people in his video, his highest instructors are the hero, not him. So he can exit out the back, work when he wants to, or coach who he wants to, and he can sit back and run this system. And now he's got somebody that's starting to take over and run the system. Because it is a system, anybody can do it. It doesn't depend on the hero. That's what's neat about video too. You could do the video, but that doesn't mean you have to be there to do the thing, right? So this is like, the absolute best process in any business right now, period. Unless you have, number one, an absolute metric boatload of cash to employ a bunch of people, and even at that, it's not as efficient because this thing does the exact same thing every time, and I can measure this thing. That's the... Well, I'll tell you the video that I have running right now, it's done just shy of $3 million. It's an hour long. They don't watch it the first time, all the time, or all the way. It usually takes them 3 or 4 watches. But that's where this follow-up email comes into play. And people say, well, why so long? Because that's how long it takes to get you the information that you need. Not because I'm trying to take that long. People always say, well, how long should it be? Should it be short or long? It needs to be as long as it needs to be to get the right information across. No shorter, no longer. And so they'll come back and continue to watch it. That's where this follow-up works. Now, if you're just running with no pixels and you're running just straight to a video and you're thinking that one interaction is going to get it done, just don't do it, because you'll waste time and energy and money, and it's not the way to do it. They need time to see it. They need time to see it again and again. And then when they go to any other website, they need to see you there. They need to see the shiny object that you presented to them. They need to keep being reminded of it. Even things that I want to buy, I have the money and I want them, I still toil about things once in a while. I'll be like, do I really want to get that thing or whatever? And then I'll end up buying it later because it keeps showing up in my face all the time. Everywhere I go, I see that thing or something, but it reminds me of it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. But if it wasn't doing that and it wasn't reoccurring in my world all the time, then I wouldn't do it. So, it's like the only reason you really are, close with your parents and care about them is because you've spent more time with them than anybody else in your life, right? So it's like that's all the point of retargeting and follow-up is. For instance, you've probably been on my list for a little while. And I'm talking to you. So whether anything happens from this or not, the point is that you're here and the other people that are with us are learning from this, and it's becoming a thing of value. You just have to provide more than anybody else, but you don't have time because you're doing everything. That's why the internet exists. And people think, well, you can't teach martial arts online. Okay. Go for that idea as long as you want, but I'll tell you what, who knows who this guy is? Charles Atlas. Anybody know him? Come on, somebody's got to know this guy. You see this here? This is an old free karate jiu-jitsu course. Go explain that one. The insult that made a man out of a Mac. So back in the day when they didn't have pixels and they didn't have lead magnets and they didn't have all this, cool stuff. Yeah, the original Army. So all these things, this is what they did. Look, I don't want to talk to you about what my, jiu-jitsu or my karate can do. I want to show you. So they show you in a thing here. And if they had video and they could do what we could do, they would, on the next page, take you through this step by step. And they would show you what you can do. They would show you what to do, not how to do it. They got to pay for the how. You show them what to do. Just like right now, I showed you what to do. I didn't show you how to set it up. That's where you would be like, well, how do I set that up? And I'd say, well, join us. All right? Because to show you how to set that up would take a certain amount of my time. And this is the most invaluable thing that we have. But you can also go through my course where I take you click by click, step by step. But I said I wasn't going to sell anything on this, and I'm not going to. The point I'm trying to make is this. For a long, long time, and there's many, many more examples, this is what these guys did it. I used to use these, and people are like, oh, these guys had it going on. They still do. This still would work. We have better options, though. You can actually show them, and that video can run forever. The video that I've got right now that's earned multiple 7 figures over and almost 3 times, it's been running for almost a year. I haven't messed with it. Sorry, excuse me. So that's, once you do something like this and you do it right, it'll work for a long, 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 long time. And it'll way outperform any clipboards or anything. Because do you see more people walking around with these or with newspapers and sitting in front of TVs or anything? Name anything. This literally goes with them to the bathroom. It goes to them to bed. It goes to them everywhere. All the time, always. And this is where they get their information. So it's not about do those other things work or not. That's not the question to ask. It says which one works most effectively and most efficiently. And which one's going to keep you more time, because you cannot get more of that stuff. Any entrepreneur that tells you, money is more important or more expensive than time, you need to run away from those people. You should always in your business be figuring out how to solve problems for your ideal customer in the most efficient way possible. Okay, let's see. So out of that, did you have some questions on that? Like, is there anything that's kind of like, other than, the technical setup stuff, do you have any questions about it in terms of whatever you're thinking? I don't know what you're thinking. So the question is who's giving you the money? Parents. So what you would do is the whole video and everything in the video would be focused around the parents and what transformation that they want. You see, the parents, when you think about it, and I'll tell you, the biggest problem people have when I bring them through my process is number one, they go right to the shiny objects. They go right to the ads. They go right to the, the retargeting, and they want to do all the, content stuff. When you figure out your message and you figure out your product here, your product roadmap, your course, whatever you want to call it, okay? The thing that you want to focus on is understanding that this process right here, this whole thing is all predicated off of your message. And so when you're thinking about those parents and you're thinking about confidence and you're thinking about those things, the first thing you got to ask yourself is, the parents, do they really want, if this is the parent over here and they're looking at this, little Johnny's not looking at this. He don't even know about this. He's just being little Johnny, but the parent is unhappy. And the parent is unhappy because they say words like focus, discipline, etc. Do they actually want focus? Do they actually want discipline? Or do they want the transformation that comes from that? So what you need to be able, and it's the transformation always. People don't buy a Ferrari because it's a cool, fast car. They buy a Ferrari so that they get that effect when they pull up somewhere. Or if they are a race car driver, they want the effect of the adrenaline rush, or they want the effect of being, oh, it's him, he won, oh my God. That's what they're buying the car for, not any of that, not the performance. The performance is to get to the transformation. This is the hugest mistake that always happens in marketing. So I help X to get Y without Z so they can transform. Okay, this is the question that you have to be able to answer right here. And this message right here, and I'm going to tie it to your question, this message right here, the important thing about this part of it, which is where you explain what they're actually going to get, it needs to have some sort of metric, like not just confidence, but 10 times the confidence. I need to be able to hold it. I need to be able to say, well, I started with them and I was this heavy, and afterwards I was this much lighter. That's how I know that I got the effect, right? So it's not just, I help you get students. I help you get 38 students in 21 days. So this is the next thing. What's the time period that this takes place in? And then what are the frustrations you're going to eliminate? And so I can have what kind of future? So here's the future transformation. Here's the frustrations we're going to take out, if I could put this here. Okay. And that so we have to have a frustrations. What are the top 3 frustrations that parents are dealing with that makes them say, oh, my kid needs to be focused or disciplined or whatever, right? You've got to know what those things are, because when you talk to that parent in that video that's 15 minutes long, you're not showing them your karate skills, because they don't give a crap about your karate skills. They don't care about your trophies or how many people you've taken down or whatever. They don't care. They don't care how many schools you have. They don't care how many people you've taught. They don't care if you're friends with Chuck Norris. What they care about is this transformation. Do you understand the pain I'm going through? And can you describe it to me just the way I do so I can trust you? And do you understand what I actually want, and how fast can I get it, and how much am I going to get of it so that I can actually say this worked? And what are the frustrations you're going to get rid of? And do you really realize what I want out of this? Because it's not discipline or focus. I want a child that when we go somewhere, I don't get embarrassed because they're acting out. I just want to be able to enjoy a night out or a time out or a barbecue or whatever without little Johnny going absolutely berserk and embarrassing me. That's what you talk about in terms of in the video. You say, I help motivated parents to get their child to function with them or whatever. You talk about that. We don't call it confidence. They don't wake up in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. and go, God, I just wish Johnny could get some more confidence. They don't, it's got to pass that crack of dawn test or that like frustrated in the middle of the night test. Do they wake up in the middle of the night and they just say, God, I wish my kid could just get some more focus and confidence and discipline? No. They wake up in the middle of their night and they're like, I just wish that the school wouldn't call me and say that he's in trouble again for talking. And every time that I like ask him to do something, he doesn't just, mouth me back and throw it anyway and do worse. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about confidence. And they're not, even if it's as simple as that you think they would understand, there's a lot being left on the table because of this. So in your process, you got to ask yourself, out of my, let's call it the 9-step process here, when you talk about this to your parents that you're going to try to enroll, because that's who you're enrolling, they got to bring them. Okay. When you're talking about this process to them, you're not talking about, in step 3, we teach them how to, get out of a headlock. They don't care about that. Even if it's a bully thing, what you say is, we show them in step 3 here what to do when they're approached by a bully and how to react against that. And then we show you so that when they're at home, you can kind of keep on the same page. So it's kind of like a babysitter does one thing and then they get home and the parents let them do another thing, and it's just chaos. You talk about your steps in relation to the person that's giving you this stuff. Because this stuff they only got by trading this stuff. So, and they can't get more of this. So what we do is you take them through that process, but they're not going to come into the process if you just say, well, a lot of places that will free this and free that and take a free week. They don't care about the free week. They'll take it if you offer it, but they're not. That's not the point. Okay, it's not the point, and we're trying to think that it's a price thing. Not a price thing. And we're talking to the wrong person about the wrong stuff. And this is why it doesn't matter how much you give away, how many booths you set up, how many things you do, it still does not connect, because it's the message. If I don't understand why you matter to me, you don't. So when we have this machine in place, here's what's great about it. It doesn't get depressed. It doesn't act wrong, because we recorded our best stuff and we used that take. It doesn't forget to show up and follow up. It doesn't forget what to say when it gets there or the order it should say it in. And it can deliver it 24/7, 365, and you can hang out with them even when they're taking a crap. You can't do that with your clipboard. You can't do that with your booth. You can't do that with your phone, but you can do it with your system. And the thing is, it's got to be measurable. And if we can't measure it, it can't grow. If we don't know where it's broken, or if we don't know what it takes to get said thing, we can't scale it. So if you don't know what it takes to acquire a new student, like how much does it cost to get a new paying student in the door? If you don't know that number, you're in real big trouble. You're going to play the hope game, and it's not a strategy. So what we do is nothing complicated. It's like, basketball. If you went and hired a basketball coach, he's going to teach you what every other basketball coach teaches. He's just going to wear a different shirt or hat or have a different name. Funnels are funnels. It's not about the funnels. It's not about the ads. It's not about the emails. It's not about the pixels or the retargeting. Those things are all just vessels that carry the message. And until you know how to create the message, which it's not hard, there's basic components, you're staring at them on the screen. And if you know what order to put the messages in, the business will be taking care of itself, because it's just the thing that it is. Like, what I mean by that, because that was very plain in a way that I said it, Porsche is not going to go set up a booth to sell a Porsche. Porsche is just going to take the coolest thing about that car, and they're going to be putting it everywhere. They're going to exemplify the shiny object that gets the person to test drive it or gets the person to look further in. And that's what you're doing all the time. And you always have these people going through this pipeline of things. So you've got think of your business as just like this pipe here. And you obviously want to have throughput, and there's 3 parts to this pipe. Okay? Up here we've got attraction, here we've got conversion, and here we've got delivery, or foundation, process, and scale. Okay? This is a P. So where people really get in trouble is, their first, bottleneck is right here in traffic. Okay? Traffic is easy. You go to Facebook, and you say, here, Facebook, I want this type of people to my website. They go, okay, here's how much it costs. You got to know who those people are, but they'll get you in front of those people. But it's what are you showing the people? The ad will get it there, but what does the ad say? What is the ad presenting? Okay? And then if you do get that cleared up, the next part is this funnel. This is the funnel process. People will go, I got ClickFunnels, I got a website, I've got, Dojo Muscles and Market Muscles and Dojo websites and everything. These are all great website builders, incredible websites, but it's not about the website. You got to have the proper follow-up in place. You got to have the right system there. You've got to have this little funnel. It's just 4 pages. It's really just 2. You got to have a lead system that continues to nurture those leads, but it's not just sending them random things. It's sending them, it's taking them on this journey that your product actually takes them on. Because you can replace this word marketing with just education. When you think about buying something, anything, the only reason you're buying it is because you've been studying about it. You've been educated yourself on it. You've been looking at it and you're going, wow, that thing is awesome. Like when Apple does their commercials, they don't get like, the coolest, most attractive person in the world and go, you should buy one of these. They're really cool and they're free for a while. That'll work for a certain amount, but they would go bankrupt because you can't scale a business off of hype and stuff like that. What they do is they'll spend hours and days and months and keep posting about the camera and you can drop it, and they're educating you on the product to a point where you go, got to have it. And they educate you not just to educate you. They say, hey, for you filmmakers out there, this thing has Dolby Digital in it so that when you're writing, they're explaining it in such a way that it solves your problem. And they are marketing it to all types of different people, just like you can. Martial arts can help in the peak of it, there's about 38 high point problems that it can solve. Anxiety, depression, flexibility, weight loss. Okay, we could go through them all. And there's even more sub ones than that. And then you have the fanatical, like I'm infatuated in love with, throwing stars and samurai. So there's all that stuff. And you can get them all. And you can never run out of customers because of it. Because every day somebody's watching Enter the Dragon for the first time. And, so it's never going to go away. And depression is never going anywhere. And neither is anxiety, in weight loss, any of these things. So forever you should be packed with customers. And if you're not, it's not because you're dumb or you don't know. You just don't have a system in place. You're depending on something that is very, it's got a lot of faults. It forgets. It gets tired. It gets, sad and stuff like that. You got to hand it to a machine. Okay? Can you imagine if your car got depressed while you were driving it? So, you couldn't rely on it. But because it just does the same thing over and over and over again, you can be like, yeah, Jim, it'll cost about $25 to get there because I get this much gas mileage. And we can predict and we can have consistency. And this over here is just either online or in person. But the big thing is you should be doing both. Not because you're handing out black belts online, but because you got this person, believe it or not, there's people buying books about how to do martial arts and they're really happy about it. And that's their prerogative. And you can teach somebody how to become a black belt with a book, and they're going to know that it's not the same as being a black belt in person, but they're not focused on the black belt thing the way you are. And you have to understand that they will maybe become an in-person student someday, or they'll send you 10 people because they're telling them about the black belt course, and you teach the same way you would in person. You just can't do what you would in person. So you just don't do that part. You just show them instead on somebody else, and they have to have the understanding that it is not the same. The likelihood of you using this to actually defend yourself is highly unlikely, but it's better than what you had before, which was nothing. So that's their prerogative if they want to buy that. I have people buy my course and never even open 1 second of it. And they spend good money on it, and it blows my mind. But that's up to them. So it's you got to understand, you're thinking in your mind, and your mind is not paying you. And this turns into more, right? So I want to get some other questions. I'll come back. This is good questions. I just want to make sure everybody gets taken care of. Okay, so I just want to check the chat real quick. Okay. All right, Adam. Thank you. Okay, so good stuff, brother. Loved it, but I have to run. Let's connect later. Okay, awesome. Let's see. Yeah, so do you create content more for the mobile phone or for the desktop? So, Ernest. Is Ernest on here with us? Okay, Ernest. Okay. I will unmute you. Ernest, do you want me to unmute you or not? Yay, nay? I can just answer the question if you'd like. So he wants to know, do you make it more for... Oh, there we go. So, hi, Ernest. How are you? Good, good. I'm glad you're liking it. So to answer your question, first off, the content that you're creating, what kind of content are you creating? Got it. Okay. So what problem do you solve? Okay. Speed and agility. Okay. Got it. So you would say, okay. So would you say the thing that people pay you the most for is the speed and agility? Uh-huh. Gotcha. What do they like? What do they like most about the movie part of it? Okay. So what I would think about is I would ask myself first, because like in our first part of our process, okay, so we have like the raw materials, and then we have the machine, and then we have the flow. So this is like you figure out who you're going to be working with and figure out the problems they have, because if you don't figure that part out, the content part, when we talk about content, what you're talking about, that's this process right here. So this is like step 7 in our process. And you can't do step 7 until you've done 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So first off, we have to figure out, who is our avatar? Like, who's the person that's going to pay us the most money? And what is the problem that they have? So we call that, what is your asset? Back in the day before money or whatever, or when there was money back out in the woods, I would say, Ernest, listen, if I give you these rabbit furs, can I have some of that, beef, right? Like we would trade, and that would be my asset would be rabbit furs, and you would be returning your asset, which would be some food, some meat or something, right? Sorry if you're a vegetarian, but that's like your asset. So we figure out what is it that out of your whole process, if you think about it, this person right here, Ernest, is, again, we'll use the easy thing here. They're sad, and they want to solve their problem. And whoops, that's not good. So they want to solve this problem. There is like one big core problem that you solve that people will pay you for more than anything. Now, people could pay me to learn how to do funnels, how to do free traffic, paid traffic, retarget, okay, all this stuff. But when people come to me, if you ask me what problem I solve, I help people make money using the internet. I help people profit, revenue, get money. That's what, it's like usually the problem you solve is like 1 or 2 words, and it'd only be 2 words if it was like weight loss, all right? So, if you think about it, it's like, what is the real problem that people are paying you for? Because here's the number one rule with getting money. If you don't have money and you want money, then that just means that you're not solving problems, because the only way to get money, you can steal it, inherit it, win it. These aren't options, and they're not controllable for very long, some of them. But the only way to truly get money is to solve a problem. And so what you have to find is, yes, in your process, I'm just going to use this basic block here because it's kind of what we do. If you were to step out your process from, I don't know anything about boxing, to I know boxing now to a degree where I can start to practice very heavily, you want to map out this process, and you want to ask yourself, what is the transformation people are actually paying me for? Okay, what is the core big problem they're paying me for? Now, later, you can talk just about this problem that you solve, maybe, which is speed and agility. This one might be the mindset behind it. This one might be conditioning and weight loss. This one might be flexibility, whatever. But all of these together solve a core problem for this person, and you need to discover what that is. Now, the great thing is, all you have to do is do this. And I encourage anybody that doesn't have this done yet to do this. Make a T on a piece of paper, and on one side, I want you to put up. On the other side, I want you to put down. And I want you to ask yourself and say, with my current business, another word for business is professional problem solving, because that's all businesses do. Here's where people get in trouble. They come up with an idea in the shower, and then they create a business and go out there and try to convince people that it's good and that they should buy it and that it's something great. And that's the biggest mistake people make. What you need to do is first go out into the world and listen and look and see if you can't find a small group of people that all have the same common problem, and it's got to be a critical problem. So even if it's a recession, even if they're broke, it's still a problem that has to be solved. Okay? My arm is bleeding, I cut it real deep. Broke or rich, recession or money falling out of the sky, this has to be taken care of. Depression, anxiety, all these things. Weight loss is optional, unless your doctor said, hey, don't lose the weight, you're dead. Now it's critical. So when you think about it, when you go ahead. Well, it's not a priority for everyone. It could be a priority for the people that you're targeting. Maybe you're targeting people that are dealing with, their doctor said, hey, I help motivated people that have to lower their cholesterol. Now you're talking about somebody critical, but you see the difference in the message? One is just like, I teach weight loss. Well, buddy, so does every other person on the planet with every other thing. And okay, but when you teach people 55 to 70 how to lower their cholesterol in 30 days by 25 points with your boxing program without having to go to a stinky gym, deal with huffy puffy people, and try to figure out and manage through all these different diets so that you can actually lower your cholesterol and spend more walks on the beach with your wife and have a great time at the movie theater, not stressing and worrying with anxiety about your heart exploding. That's a different message. So what you want to do is you want to think about this chart right here, and you want to write down on this piece of paper, just like what I've got here, just you would draw the same thing. Hopefully you can see it. You're going to put on this side, what are all the things that I can increase in my person's world? I can increase their confidence. I can increase their flexibility. I can increase their strength. Okay? And then you put over here, this stands for how much can you increase it and in what time period. There has to be these elements or it doesn't matter. Okay? There's like, I help you lose weight, or I help you lose 27 pounds in 27 days without going to the gym or drinking a bunch of water or getting rid of foods that you don't like. Whole different story. Okay? So in this one, what are all the things you can decrease? I can decrease your fear. I can decrease your weight. I can decrease the time that you spend at the gym. Okay? How much time can you decrease at the gym? And how long does it take for me to get the result? Because your person needs to be able to say, at the end of this journey, I started out here, and now that I'm here, here's what I can show you. Whether it's, I can show you how much more flexible I am because now I can touch my toes. I can show you my doctor report that my cholesterol went down 25 points. They need to have that, because if you go to somebody and you're like, hey, I know you're lost in the woods, and I have this map. Now, I know it doesn't say that you'll get out, but it says you're right here. Okay? That's the problem. Everybody's saying, I got a map, but it doesn't have a finish line. And they can't describe it. So people don't listen. They listen to the people that say, I know that you're right here, and let me tell you about you're right here right now. And they explain all their current situations. And then they say, and I know that you want to get over here, and they explain all those desired situations that they want. And then they say, and I know why you're hitting this wall. I know the problems you're having, and let me explain those struggles to you so that you know that I know your current situation, desired situation, and struggles. And now let me show you a step-by-step map on how to cross that wall and get over here. It's in this gap right here that people will trade you their fur or their money. Okay? So that's what you, yeah. And so without this first, you have to first ask yourself, like we teach in our program here, the raw materials are, you first have to know, what is your core asset? Okay? What is the, I know you can teach and help a lot of things and a lot of people, and you will. But what is that one big core thing that people will end up in your lifetime of doing what you do? You're going to end up making more money from this one single asset than you will all the other assets. And that's what you have to identify. And the only way to really identify that is by doing this sheet right here, or doing some version of it. What are all the things that I can increase? What are all the things that I can decrease? And the way that you decide on which one is your core, because one of these you're going to circle, the way you decide that is you ask yourself which one has a more definite metric and a more definite timeline, because that one's going to have more power than any one of the others. And here's the deal. I know people making, literally, I'm not joking about this, they're literally making, I know somebody that makes over $300,000 a month selling horse ballerina training. How to train your horse to do ballerina moves. Yes, it's ballerina training for a horse. They do shows. So what I meant by that was, I don't care what your little side of the world or niche or pocket is. There's plenty of people, okay? Unless you're doing like, I couldn't even name something right now. So, but the point is this. How much confidence? Oh, I'm going to help you increase your confidence. How much? It's kind of hard to gauge. That's a hard thing to metric. Oh, I'm 10 times more confident now. Oh, really? Prove that to me. It's hard. So that's a hard metric. That's not one if you do lean into that and you do want to do confidence because you're just dead set on that, that's what you want to do. The question you have to then ask yourself is, how can I prove at the end of the day that this person is more confident? And here's what I would do. I would create a workbook that every day we're going to mark down in here, and you're going to say, today, my confidence today on a level from 1 to 5 is a 4. And they're going to tell you their level of confidence in their world. And that then I can say, if we add all these points up at the end of the booklet that I took you through, the 9 weeks or whatever, 3 weeks or 3 days or 4 hours, whatever it is, now you have this booklet that you wrote down, and out of the 100 possible points, you scored a 80%. So you were 80 times more confident, because the first time I asked you to fill this out, you said 1. That's my confidence on a 1 to 5, and now you're at a 4.5 or whatever. So now that's some sort of measurement. And you can say, I've had 10 clients go through this, and every one of them were 80 times more confident, and we've got it proven out here in this book. Now I can see that. And so when we create these things, like what I'm doing, think about this for a second. You're kind of like in an inception moment. How in the heck do I show people my thing? How do I show you a roadmap in a product? You're seeing it right here. I'm showing it to you. You're seeing me say, oh, they're over here, and then they go through this path, and they're over here. This is how we do it. This is how our mind thinks, is in terms of images. So when I'm doing my thing, yes, you'll come in, and let's say you're making $5,000 a month, and after, the program with us or whatever, now you're making, 10 times that. Or, like Barry came to me, they were doing about $7,000 a month, and after he went through the process, about 72 days later, he's done just shy of like 60,000 in new student signups. So, and he's just one of the many hundreds of people, but that's where we have a metric that we can measure. The next thing is, you need to say, okay, now that I know what my asset is, and now I know what my avatar is, so I know who my person is that's most likely to have the problem that I'm going to be core solving. Now I'm going to create that message that when I say it, that person cannot resist it. Literally. It's like, let's just say that you were walking down the street, and I'm just talking to a friend over here, but you can overhear us. And I know that you're a boxing coach or whatever. And you hear me talking to my friend, and I'm like, yeah, I use this XYZ for my boxing school. And in 3 days, we signed up 22 boxing students, and they all paid us $200 a month. It was unbelievable. You would not have a chance in the world of not saying, sir, could I ask you a question? I do boxing too. What is it that you did? Okay. That's because I put this thing together in such a way that when I said that, I made it more powerful. If I had just said, oh man, I improved my boxing gym, you'd be like, maybe. Maybe you would ask him. But if I said it the way I said it, where it had a metric and a timeline, and I said without this and that, you would be almost powerless to it. And we call that a stimulus reaction. It's kind of like laying a hot dog in front of a dog. It's going to eat it. Like it really doesn't have much of a choice. And that's like where we got to get a stimulus reaction. The flower is following the sun. It doesn't really have a choice. And we can do the same thing when we know that core pain, that when somebody, I want you to imagine your perfect prospect wakes up in the middle of the night and they're like sweating and anxious and they're just like, God, if I could just. Now, when you think about when I asked you in the beginning, I said, what was the problem that you solve? You started telling me about all the things you do. Now, there's nothing. I'm not coming at you, okay? I'm here to help you. I'm here to coach you and help you. You said all these different things, but you didn't say what it was because you didn't know what to say. And that's okay because that's why you're here right now. But you need to ask yourself, whatever you do choose, maybe you said flexibility. What did you say? Like flexibility and speed and agility, right? Or was that? Okay. God, if they wake up in the morning, I want you to imagine, God, if I could just have more speed and agility. They're not going to say that, are they? What do they want the speed and agility for? Well, you don't have to come up with this answer. Let me show you. This is the cool thing about the internet. Within seconds, we're going to have your answer here. Okay? Let me go. Okay, does that pass the 3 a.m. test? When I was fat, I was like 290 pounds. I'm like 210 now. My buddy's like, just go box. He's like, and don't stop until your arms can't be lifted anymore, and just do that every day and stop eating sugar. I did that, and I lost 60 pounds in like 60 days. And people were like, oh, I just went to this boxing gym. I didn't know I was like unsure of it. I was the only like white guy there. It was in downtown Phoenix. I lived in Scottsdale, Arizona at the time. And I'm in there just like beating this bag up. And it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of great stress relief. And I went there and I lost weight. And everybody that asked me, like, why do you go to the gym now, man? You kind of lost weight. I'm like, well, one, it's a great workout. But I'm like, dude, I just feel so amazing when I leave there. It's like I'm in the moment. And so, it's like somebody, what are they going to wake up in the morning and say? So my favorite place to go hunting for the answers is YouTube. Okay. It's the second largest place. And people go to YouTube just like they go to Google, but they go here because people are lazy. This is just nature, right? We're just naturally like that. So when they go to ask Google to solve their problem, because that's where we go, search engines to find solutions to our problem. What is your person going to say? How to hit a bag. Okay, so when I put how to hit a bag, look what came up on its own. Now you can press this report search predictions, and it'll lay them all out here for you, and you can screenshot it or just hit them all, and it'll save it. But when I click on this, the only reason these are showing up is because, and I'm in an incognito window, which means it erased all of my cookies and all of my stuff. It's literally showing me the same screen basically that yours would show you without, it's not, my previous searches are not reflecting here. So how to hit a bag. When I just press the space bar, this stuff comes up. So how to hit a bag properly, how to hit a bag, how to hit a speed bag, how to hit a heavy bag, how to hit a heavy bag for beginners. These are things that how to hit a bag without hurting your wrist. You might do a lead magnet on that, and it says the one-page cheat sheet for how to hit a bag without hurting your wrist. Who do you think is going to want that? Somebody hitting a bag. Somebody that's into boxing, probably. So there's that type of thing where, and then when you would show them how to hit a bag, here's what you say. Now that I showed you in this 10-minute little video how to actually hit a bag without hurting your wrist, they're going, man, this dude was awesome. He helped me. He's like, he threw out in his email, free Zoom, ask him anything, and he's just going to dump a bunch of value on us. Okay, kind of like what I'm doing right now. So you could say they opted in, and if you know that's something being searched, you can give them the answer on that, and then you can say, now, Mr. Person, I know that you probably are going, wow, this is great. I love the fact that now I know how to tape my wrist and how to hit properly so I don't sprain my wrist and stuff. But that, sir, is just actually step 4 in this entire process that we have, this 9-part process, which actually takes you from, well, what we do is we actually help beginner boxers that are motivated to actually get in shape and learn all the moves or whatever that problem is, that big A to B problem. And you say, we take our people through these 9 steps right here, and when they get done, they'll be able to That's that I help blank to blank by blank so that they can blank. And then you say, and that was just that part of the process. If you would like us to share a game plan with you and just show you this and give you a strategy so that you can get clear and get your mind straight, go ahead and schedule a call with us. Whether you work with us or not, it's probably going to be one of the best calls you ever had in your life in terms of boxing strategy or clarity. And I'll go ahead and walk you through these 9 steps, and we'll see if we're a good fit. Maybe we are, maybe we're not. That's okay. But at least you'll know what to do next. They get on there, and you follow our simple script. I call it the 30-minute millionaire script, which it could be called $30 million script, and I mean that. It's worth whatever you want to do with it. It's $1 million sounds like a lot when you don't have it, but it's not as much as you think. But I will tell you, but money's great. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. Okay, if they tell you that, they just don't have any. It's not lonely at the top. So the thing is this script right here takes you through 7 steps, and it's verbatim, easy. It's not scripted, and you're just auditing people against your product. You're asking them certain questions that would qualify them. You're more of a doctor in this case. Out of this 30-minute call that it takes, you're talking maybe 5 minutes, maybe. They're doing all the talking, and then at the end you go, well, based off everything you told me here, it looks like we actually can help you. Would you like me to share with you what it is that we do? And they're like, yeah. And then you share it with them, and you say, so, did you have any questions? And they're like, well, what about, like if I wanted to come twice a week, can I do that? Or 2 times a day? Yeah, you can do that. Okay, any other questions? Well, how much is it? Well, normally it's this price, but we do a first call incentive because it kind of separates people that are serious from not. And so if you get started on this call with me here today, right now, I'm going to knock off half of the price, and it's just this. And I don't mean half of your price that you would charge. You start high. What it's actually worth, which is actually priceless. What is flexibility actually worth? So that's how you take and you breadcrumb. So once you have your roadmap of the process you go through, and you want to just use 9, thinking, okay, they're here in A, they want to get to B. They're stuck being able to get from here to here because they're hitting these struggles and walls, which you would list. You've got your foundational levels, which has 1, 2, 3. You have your process levels, which is 4, 5, 6. Excuse my slop. And then you have your scale or maintenance or grow, and that's your 7, 8, and 9. Well, Mike, it's longer than 9 or it's shorter than 9. Make it 9. Combine or separate and make it 9. And then once you get fancy and good and you can do this in your sleep, you can adjust it how you want because you'll understand the principles. And then I want you to write down the 3 core steps for each one of these pieces here, because when you do that, then what you'll have is you'll have a 27-part email follow-up series that you can just put and email them. If you don't know how to do it, you can do it manually. If you then think about it, you have 27 pieces of content, okay? And you can take them through that entire process and show them what to do, not how to do it. They have to pay you for the how. Yeah. So when you're talking about content, which was your original question, you're going to create content for the person, not the computer or the phone. It'll work on both. I've used Kartra, and I've used all of them. Infusionsoft. I've been doing this for about 15 years now. Just use ClickFunnels. It's the easiest of them all, and it's the most functionable with everything. I love Kartra. I love the guy that made Kartra. I know him. I've shook his hand. ClickFunnels just does it better. They've got some great stuff to say about it, but when you get into it, it is twice as complicated, and it's more mess than you need. And then you're going to couple that with Activecampaign. Activecampaign is $15 a month, and it is beautifully simple, and it does it right. I've used all of them. The stuff that you're going to use, Activecampaign, ClickFunnels, and you just need the 99 version of ClickFunnels, or 97, whatever it is. You don't need the big expensive one. Okay, you just need the 99 a month one, and you get 15 days free. And then Activecampaign, you just need the $15 one. And then over here, you're going to use Calendly. It's Calendly. That's what you're going to use for your appointment software. And then if you want your automations to work and think for themselves, then you're going to combine these two using Zapier. And Zapier's $29 a month. Calendly's $15 a month. Activecampaign's $15 a month, and this is $29. And what Zapier does, it's just the messenger boy that says, hey, that lead that got into your automations, come to find out they did schedule with you. And so Calendly tells Zapier, and Zapier tells Activecampaign, because Calendly and Activecampaign don't speak the same language without Zapier translating. So now you have those pieces, and to run your whole machine, the operation we teach you how to run, literally costs $160 a month. That's not paid to me, but it's paid to those components right here. And now you have just paid for your machine each month. Okay, so now you've got the machine, you've got the weapon. All you need to do now is put the stuff in the right order, and you need to put the stuff together properly when you put it in that order, if that kind of makes sense. Well, here's what's... This works to sell anything. So business is just, again, another word for business is professional problem solver, or that's what you would call an entrepreneur. A business is just a device that shows up after there's already a problem. This is where I've done this mistake myself. I'd be like coming up with ideas, and I'm like, oh man, wait till I tell people about this. And I'd kind of tell a couple people, and they're like, oh, that's cool. And then I'd create a business, and I would fail. And then so what I learned to do was go out there and listen and see, am I hearing the same patterns? Am I finding the same things? Is there a lot of people all saying that they have the same problem? And is it critical, not optional? It's something that must be had regardless of what's going on in the universe. This is a problem that must be solved. That's where you want to focus. But this process that I'm showing you, the reason I can go through it so simply, for one, I've been just doing it a long time. But number two is I'm just following this process because I have my roadmap laid out, and I know that you have to go through this. This is just the way it is. And I'll tell you something here. This will save you guys a lot of heartache and struggle and trouble, because back in the day when I was trying to figure this stuff out, there was a bazillion different gurus and a bazillion different people, and I bought all their stuff and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on stuff, literally, and all to find out that it's literally just 9 steps. So for your brain, just so that you know, okay, for the rest of our lives, everybody that's alive right now, for the rest of our lives, this is going to be the process. And let me explain why I know that, even though I don't know the future. All I do know is this. If we have any kind of problem, or if we have any kind of anything, in order for us to tell somebody else about it, we're going to have to transfer electronic signal via eardrums vibrating in person, or through this camera and this microphone, or telepathy, or brain chips, or whatever it is. Information is going to have to transfer from the person that has the information the other person needs. That's it, period, end of story. So these same 9 steps are going to be the same 9 steps. They might just be done in virtual reality or brain chips or telepathy or whatever, but it's going to be these same steps here, which are: who and what is the problem? How do you explain your problem so that they go, oh, yeah, okay. And then what is the map to get there? And then what is the process you're going to do to capture them and share your message with them and then follow up with them? And then how do you create that video and that follow-up email process? And then when you actually do get them to a point where they're saying, hey, how do I buy this from you? Or what is this? Or does this really work? How are you going to talk to them, either in text, video, image, sound, whatever? And then what are you going to do to continue to bring people that have this problem to it? And then how are you going to ramp that up so that it's working without you? And so you're not out there, manually hand-to-hand combating this thing. And then how are you going to follow them up based off their behaviors? Because that's really all retargeting is. It's no different than any other ad. It just it works based off behaviors, just like in the funnel process. So you can understand this. This is it. Don't go search. If anybody tells you it's anything more or less than this, show me their bank account, show me their stuff, and then we'll talk about it. Because I can show you all that stuff. And I can also say that, I've supported my family and many other families with this process right here. And I have, any of the greats are going to tell you this. And I know that because they told me this. So, I've bought all their stuff. I've met with Frank Kern and heard about how he told me he pays $212,000 a month in child support. So, Frank is hilarious. He's good. Brendan Burchard, met with him. Okay. All these guys. Okay. They're great humans. And if you like them more than me, go for it. They're good people. They're great people. There's tons of them. Just like in jiu-jitsu, there's a ton of great teachers, and they're not the ones that came up with jiu-jitsu. They're just synthesizing it for you. So this is the process. Don't let it be anything more. This is organic traffic. I'll break it down even simpler. This is paid traffic and ads. Where do we do that at, Mike? Facebook and YouTube. Nowhere else. And YouTube would mean Google, and Facebook would mean Instagram, because those are all the same companies. Facebook is Instagram, Google is YouTube. Retargeting, all you're doing is going to Google or YouTube, and you're saying, hey, Google or hey, YouTube, if somebody goes to this page but does not go to this page, show them this ad. Well, how does that know? You're going to create an audience for each of the pages, and when somebody lands on it, you're going to have a tag from Google, which is the same thing as saying a pixel. Facebook calls it a pixel. Google calls it a tag. Same thing, though. You're going to put that on your stuff. And so anything that they land on, you're going to have this tag or this pixel on it. And it's going to record them, where they were and what they did. And you'll go to what page is important, and you're going to put the tag on it and say, if they land on this page, but not this page, show them this ad. And it'll just follow them around. And then you'll say, now, if they do make it to this, stop showing that to them. And it's that simple. Everything online works just like your brain. If this happens, then this happens. If I press the space bar, then make a space and tell this machine to do this. And then that machine goes, well, if this signal comes, then do this. Everything is if-then, ones and zeros, no different here. Okay? The script, you're taking them through a framework. Here's how it goes. I'll tell it to you right here. Okay? There's 6 parts to it. You frame it. You frame the situation. Ask them about their current situation. Then, after you frame it, then you're going to come in here and you're going to find out and discover if they're right for your program. How are you going to do that? You're just going to audit them against your 9 steps. That's why you need to have a roadmap. That's why you need to have your process. I don't care if you sell sand or intellectual property or anything, martial arts, I don't care. If I ask you to teach it to me, show it to me, give it to me, anything, I don't care what it is, mow the yard, something, you're going to follow some sort of process from start to finish. I don't care. The tree does it. The grass does it. Everything does it. It was not around, and now it's around. It was non-existent. We went through this process. It existed. That's it. So if you're like, well, mine's different. I teach them how to, meditate. There's a process there. Everything has a process, and if you don't have it detailed out, then you're really in trouble, because when you detail it all out, when you have this entire thing together like this, every ad, every email, every message, every blog, you name it, any communication or anything coming from you or your business to the market is baked in to your product. What does Porsche talk about? They go to the product. Let's talk about the brakes in this commercial. Let's talk about the rubber on the tires, the dashboard, the electronics. Any SpaceX, just go to listen to anybody. If you hear them talking about anything else other than what lives in the process that they take their customer from A to B, if they're talking about anything other than that, I would be very wary. And I would bet we could go find evidence in their bank account, because money is not a measure of, well, I don't care about money. I just want enough to get by, be comfortable, live okay, and take care of my thing and be able to do what I love to do every day. And that's all I want. I don't need a lot. I don't know. The only way to get money is solving problems. So what you're basically saying when you're going through all that blah, 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 is you're saying, I don't want to solve that many problems. I just want to solve just enough problems to solve my own problem. My favorite quote from Zig Ziglar was, if you help everybody else solve their problem, you don't have to worry about your problems. And so what I love about this is the more money you have, the more problems you've solved. And so you have a couple options. Number one, you can solve one great big problem. I have this pill, you take it, even the meanest, most deadliest cancer is gone in 2 seconds. I solve that problem, I'll never have to solve another problem ever again, because I'll be a quadrillionaire. If I solve, here's how to get a piece of meat out of your tooth with a toothpick, I can still get just as rich. I just have to sell a quadrillion toothpicks. So it doesn't matter the size. It just matters in how much volume you have to do because of the size of the problem you're solving. So to reel it back in here, if you have no money, it's because you're not solving problems. And if you can solve problems and you're not solving problems, it's because the people that have the problems, they don't know that you can solve it. So you frame it. You ask them about where they are, their current situation. You discover and audit them against your 9-step process here. And then over here, you're going to ask them about their problems. All this is questions, by the way. There is no telling in this. There's no telling. You're only asking questions. You are a doctor. I don't care if you sell sand or if you sell brain transplants. You are a doctor when it comes to this. You have the problem. You see, your person is right here. They're sad and they want to be happy. They don't know how to get there, or they would not be sad. So they're trying to get there, but they're running into these problems. What are they? They don't have a path. They don't know where to even begin. They have no short, or they're too short on this, or they're just confused. They've tried and it didn't work. What are those things? And you need to find that out, because they'll pay you if you can just show them the path to get over this thing. And it's real simple. People I have my friends all the time. They're like, "Oh, you're just lucky, man, because you know how to sell and all this stuff." No, I do not. I found a problem that needed to be solved. I learned how to solve it. And now all I do is I explain how my product works to people, and they buy it. And we get the results, and we keep doing that. So in this part of the script, you ask them about their problems. And at the bottom of each of these scripts, I have they're basically like checkpoints. It's like, now, before we go forward here, because remember, the biggest thing you're always protecting, when you buy a car, you're not buying a car, you're buying time. When you buy anything, you're buying time. A toothbrush, you could sit here and do it like this, but a toothbrush is quicker. Okay? So you're always buying time, you're never buying the thing. And each one of these things need to have a checkpoint so that you don't waste that thing you can't get more of. And so I have checkpoints at each of these that you would ask. So on a scale from 1 to 5, how serious are you about actually solving this? If they don't pass the check, they don't pass the check. The call gets ended. You thank them. You give them your best advice to what to do based off where they stopped. and then you carry on because you have another one. You're not worried about saying no because you have another one in line. Okay? If you want to catch fish, I love fishing. I got a lake right here in the backyard, and it used to drive me nuts. Like, I'd go fishing, I'd buy the lures, I'd have the fishing poles, I'd have everything, and I still couldn't catch fish. And then I watch a guy at the same damn lake at the same damn time catching the fish. And I'd go ask him, I'm like, what are you using? He goes, I'm using this. I go, I'm using that too. What? He goes, well, you need to do this, and you need to do this with it, and you need to do this with it. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, you're going down too deep, and da-da-da. What's the difference between him and I? He understood the fish. He understood the fish. And because he understood the fish, and he understood when they were hungry, what level of water they were at, what temperature, what colors, and all that stuff, it wasn't hard. He could just go to the lake and catch the fish. Just like you could have a packed full gym, packed full mats, packed everything, and paying you full time. But the problem is you don't understand your fish well enough. So you don't know how to attract it. Because this is not a hunting game. So after you figure out their problems and you decide, okay, based off their problems, based off how I've audited them against my product and the way we've controlled the conversation here, now I'm pretty sure I can help this person, or I'm pretty sure I can't, and you got to be honest about that. And then you say, now, can I share with you the top 3 things that you need to do to get X goal that you told me up here in the next 90 days? And they're like, yeah, that'd be awesome. And you tell them, and then you say, now, how confident are you that with the right support and somebody that could take you through these steps right here, how confident are you that you would spend money to have that problem solved for you, and what would that be worth to you? If they can't answer that, or they say they're not, the call's over, and you explain to them how you can help them based off what you've figured out in these 3 blocks or 4 blocks. And then here, you're just, if they do pass that roadblock, here you're just saying to them, hey, here's how our process works. Here's who we accept. Here's who we do not accept. Do you have any questions? After that, if they say whatever questions they have, you don't tell them about the deliverables or the details. You just explain what it is that you guys do and who you do it for and who you don't do it for. And then if they say, so how much is it? That's the magic question. You say, well, it's normally this price, and it normally is that price. But we have a first call incentive to separate the wheat from the chaff or the serious from the not. And so if you take advantage of this today on this call right now, I'm going to give you X amount of discount, and it's got to be a discount that is too good to refuse, because if they do refuse it, they were never going to buy anyway. And you don't have to follow up with them and cold call them and bang on them, because guess what? You have automations that'll do that for you with emails and everything else. So you can save your time, and you found out if they were serious or not, and you got a bunch of data that you can use to write your ads with and your emails with, because now you know all their problems. They told them to you, and you can say, so, one of their problems was every time I box, I hurt my back or my wrist. And you can now you know how to create a piece of content based off whatever piece of the pie you're going to bring out of your product here. So yeah. But you never answer any questions on this call, because it'd be like this. When you go to the doctor, and you go to the doctor and he sets you on the paper table, or he pulls the paper over and you're sitting there and you're like, doc, I don't know. There's like this pain down here in my back. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know. Sometimes it's there. And, I've been putting this cold, icy hot stuff on it. He's like, oh, don't do that. Don't put icy hot. Don't, what we do, what we suggest you do. He doesn't do that. What does he do? He sits there and he's like, okay. And what are you usually eating in the evening? And now you're built up with all this. And then he goes, after he asks you all the questions, he goes, all right, just sit tight. I'll be right back. And he leaves the room. He doesn't give you anything. And you're sitting there sweating, is it cancer? Do I got frickin', what is going on here? And you're like, because it's a problem that you need to have solved. It's critical at this point. And he asked you all the questions he needed to decide if he could actually help you. And then when he comes back in, he goes, well, comes to find out you got cadoba jobalifus. and you don't know what that means, you just say, well, how do I fix it? And you go, well, you're going to have to do this, this, and this, and you're going to have to go down here twice a week, and then you need to take this. And then you get the bill. And you either take it or you leave it. So it's no different here. If you're in here saying, oh, well, the reason, you don't do that. You never answer their questions. You're not an order taker. You have spent your lifetime figuring out how to solve a problem. They're coming to you. The doctor doesn't go, well, what do you think we should do? He has the answer. He's not asking you. He's not, okay? So, and then in this part of it, this is just a video. This is just how do you create a video that can actually deliver a message or deliver a message in such a way that you only need to create this video pretty much like in my whole life of all the stuff I've created probably, and I'm talking in 15 years here, like as far as like hardcore sales videos that actually close down things, probably like maybe 25. Now, I had to create 2,500 to get those 25. But what I'm saying is when you nail that video, which we know how to do now really well, we've got it. It's everything is systemized here. There's no, it's 1, 2, 3, ABC. But there's a way to create a video that does the job. It works the way the brain works and the way we think. Stanford actually came up with it. You follow the process. You can find it online if you want. So the next thing here is the lead magnet. How do you create a system, a process that can run without you and take people and breadcrumb them into your process and educate them, which is all marketing means, on why your product can solve their problem in a certain amount of time and they know it will, okay? And then down here is how do you create your offer? How do you lay out your offer? How do you name each step? How do you set it in the right order? And then how do you use it? People are like, well, I don't want to create a martial arts course. Well, then that's fine, but you're not creating a course. Yes, you can sell that course for $3,000 to $6,000 online in martial arts. Yes, you can. Okay, I can put you on the phone with people that do it all the time. The thing is, though, there's a ton of stuff. Well, that's probably, I don't know if that's a $6,000 problem. Okay. But if in combination with the whole program, it could be. I mean, how much would it cost if I were to go hire Mike Tyson as a private coach right now to work with him 3 times a week? Right? Does that mean I'm going to be a world champion in boxing? No. But does that mean I'm going to have the best chance at it? Yeah. But the cost of that, it would be, 6 figures. So, or more. So the thing is this thing is not only a product that you can sell, but it's also giving you look what I'm doing with mine right now. This is what it's worth. Like I can walk you through, I can show you context. People talk about content all the time. It's about context. The content is only relevant to the context of where you're using it. A shoe isn't valuable if you're in a swimming pool. So this next one here is how do I then take my process and create the messaging for each step and for the headlines and for the descriptions so that it has the elements that it needs to actually stimulate and create like a stimulus reaction. And then this step is, I did them all backwards, sorry. It's truly finding out who is that person and what is that problem you solve. And this is the most critical thing. You can't do any of these other steps without this one being nailed down. And this is the one everybody skips over. I know who my customer is. It's kids between 8 and 12, or it's parents of kids between 8 and 12. Okay, well then why aren't you full of parents between 8 and 12 and kids 8 and 12? So, okay, so what else do we have as far as questions? Anybody else have some questions for me? We got Ernest, Ernest, for sure. Pay attention to your email because I'll probably be popping some more of this stuff out. It's actually been a lot of fun. All right. Who else has... Yeah, for sure. For sure. Just keep watching. Okay. All right. So anybody else? Donnie. Donnie's a client already. Donnie, is it terrible? Tell the people how terrible it is being with us here. Tell them how much it sucks, man. I'm just kidding, Donnie. You don't have to say anything. I'm not selling anything. Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't pay you to get on here. But you do have a question, I'm sure. Yeah, you got a roadmap together? Yeah, I seen it there in the group. Yep. Okay, so the first thing I would ask is, who is the core avatar? So I wouldn't worry about anything else until that's defined, because and when I say core, I'm talking about the overarching person, right? So what's the problem that we're solving? Confidence, right? Okay. So confidence. Confidence for what again? Gotcha. Okay. So we know the asset is 10 times the confidence when handling a street situation, fight, whatever you want to call it. Right? Okay. So who is the person that has this problem? Yeah. Who has this? Who is the person that has this problem all the time? Is it teens? Is it executives? Is it women that work late night jobs? Like what? Who is it? Police officer? Who are you working with? But who's going to pay you the most for that? Are 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 women? Are women going to pay you more for the protection on the streets against bullies, or are high school kids? Really? Okay. So you got to figure out who when you why are you saying bullies? Who comes to mind when you think of that? So college. Everybody gets bullied, but there's a group of people out there that get more bullied than other groups of people. This is just period. We could go metric this out, right? If we took all the people that ever get bullied ever in the world, there's a particular age range, and there's a particular area, and there's a particular type of people that are in particular types of environments and topics and subjects and everything. So if you're thinking young adults, the college era, if you're in the 20s and stuff like that, then you help bullied college kids get or bullied young adults, you could call it, all right, and that's getting a little vague, but you could get, I help motivated and bullied young adults to 10 times their confidence in a bullying situation or confrontation in less than 30 days with my process, without having to carry a gun, worry about mace or keychain, weapons or whatever, so that you can actually walk to school or walk to practice or walk home or walk to the store without living in anxiety and in fear, so you can actually laugh and have a good time and not be thinking over your shoulder all the time. Okay? So when you're thinking about that audience right there and you're thinking about who you're going after now, when you go to create that lead magnet or that chunk, you're still focusing on that person. Even though there's 3 to 4 separate avatars for each pieces of our puzzle here, right? There can be 20 avatars for just the sales script. I could sell that to anybody that does sales. Alligator sales, Porsche sales, fishing sales, it doesn't matter. But my core person is coaches, instructors, consultants, experts with knowledge that they want to sell to other people that want the knowledge. That's my core customer. So when I create my lead magnets, I am focusing all of that energy on those people. Now, they might be experts in hunting. They might be experts in gymnastics. That can change when I go do my Facebook ads or when I create my messaging in the funnels or whatever. But at the end of the day, I want to work with, coaches, consultants, course creators, instructors, experts, that kind of thing. So the thing that you have to ask yourself is, if you're going to be helping people have confidence to overcome a bullying situation and you're dealing with young adults, when you're thinking about this, part of the pie that you're going to use as a shiny object or a lead magnet, you want to then ask yourself, like, is the person that, is going to be online doing the thing, okay, just scatterbrained on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, if they see, the one-page cheat sheet for, what was it? Strikes. Because tools, I'm thinking about like applications or wrenches. You can call them tools later, but you got to speak in plain language when you're talking to the customer, because they don't know your fancy tool words yet. You got to say, these are the top 10 strikes. This is a one-page cheat sheet with the top 10 strikes that you can learn in less than 5 minutes for each strike. Okay, instead of saying 50 minutes, you can say it takes, in 5 minutes, you'll understand and know each one of the strikes. They'll understand and know them. That doesn't mean they're going to be good at them or effective with them. But they're going to know it, and that's the shiny object. So I help motivated college kids that are tired of being bullied have 10 times the confidence to handle any situation and never have to look over their shoulder ever again in less than 30 days. And the way we do that is by giving you one of these small elements of the whole process, which is the 10 top strikes that you can do when somebody's got you cornered into a locker or by your car or pulling on your purse or whatever it is. And you can download this cheat sheet right now. And I'm going to walk you through each one of the steps, and you're absolutely going to love it. So right now, put your name, email on the page. You can be writing this or saying this in a video or on an audio, or you can use comic strips. I don't care. Those are our only options: image, video, audio, text. So pick whatever one is your favorite. And then what I want you to do is say that, get their email on the next page, teach them those strikes so that when they walk away from it, they feel like they could teach somebody else that same information. But then right before the call's over or the video's over, you want to zoom out and say, now, what we just taught you in our bully defense is actually just this step right here. I just taught you actually a part of this step 7. And if you want to be completely bully-free forever, never worried about again, you're going to have to combine that stuff with the rest of these right here And if you want us to show you how that works and give you a clarity call or a game plan or a strategy session and walk you through this and just show you and see if this is going to fit for you, I want you to go ahead and schedule a call with me right now, and we'll go ahead and we'll just see if this is right for you, if we're a good fit, if it's going to help, if it's going to actually, be for you, if you feel like we're the right people for you, and we'll see if it's, a good fit. And then if you want us to, we'll share what it costs. If you don't, you're going to leave with a strategy, and you're going to leave with a game plan, and you're going to know what to do. And clarity is worth a lot, isn't it? So why don't you just go ahead and schedule real quick, and I look forward to talking to you. And they either will or they won't. And if they won't, that's fine, because 90% won't, or 95% won't. But that's okay, because you have email follow-up that's going to stay with them. You have retargeting that's going to stay with them. You have all these things that's going to follow them around and keep just digging on them. And they're going to keep looking for an answer somewhere else. But because you have a roadmap and you were clear and you showed them, they're going to go to you and say, I see all these other things. They're the same thing that this thing's offering. But the difference is this guy has a map that has a start and a finish, and he showed me the thing that I couldn't see that's intangible. He made it tangible by showing me a map. If I said to somebody like, oh, we sell meditation. Well, how are you going to show me that? You can't. It's like, it's something we do in our brain, right? It's like, but what I could do is I could say, okay, so you're going to be here, and you're going to be scatterbrained, and you're going to be stressed, and you're going to be freaking out, and you're going to be like, what do I do? And then you're going to go through our process where we stage you with breath all the way down. Think of it as like an elevator going down slowly, and then all of a sudden those lines are going to smooth out, and you're going to be able to see your thoughts like a train track coming through your head, carrying a bunch of ideas that you don't have to let off the train. And so then once you get through with that, you're going to be able to pick and choose which things you want to hang on to and which things you want to let keep going around that train track. So when you get done, you'll have options instead of a bunch of electrocution signs and a crazy face. I just made the intangible tangible. They could screenshot that, print it off at Kinko's, and put it in their purse. That's what you have to do. You have to take the intangible and make it tangible. You have to know who you're talking to. And you do now, okay? You've got, and you knew, but even though that I could pull this out and just sell this to anybody that wants free traffic, I would just relate it to the person that I'm core focused on. Okay? Because naturally, it's going to do the job. If I just focus on that person, naturally, it's going to pull those other people, but I want to focus on that core person that's actually going to pay me. Because they'll have friends that are not like them but similar, or when I have enough cheddar, I can then start peeling off and focusing on these other targets that I have. But let's take the lowest hanging fruit first, put the money in the war chest so that we can keep playing this game forever. So motivated college kids that are being bullied, you need to relate it, just say strikes. Say it in a language but then you got to ask yourself too, is that person waking up in the middle of the night and saying, God, if I could just know some strikes to do. So you have to relate those strikes. You have to say, I help college kids that are motivated to get the bullying to stop. They have to be motivated. Okay, for all of you listening that have not been, through our stuff, you have to have these three components. I don't care what it is that you sell, services, products, diamonds, it doesn't matter. You got to have these three pieces, and you got to make sure these are there before anything can happen. Number one is they got to be motivated and focused. If they're not motivated and focused to solve the problem, it don't matter if you have the answer. You have to have a blueprint. Hence the name of our thing here. You have to have a blueprint, a roadmap, a process. You have to have A to B map, schematic. Show me. I need to have it. And then they need to have support. Because if they didn't need the support, then they wouldn't have the problem and you wouldn't matter anyway. So that's the only way to get to success, period. I don't care how you look at success. Okay? That's the only way to get to success. You got to have motivation to get there. Number one, whatever that means to you. And then you're going to have to be focused and motivated, or it ain't happening for you. You got to have a blueprint on how to get there, whatever that means to you, wherever you want to get to. You got to have the map, and then you're going to need support to get there, period. End of story. It ain't happening any other way. So when you're thinking about that, you got to think, in my message, I don't want to call out the lazy bum that, is going to come up with excuses and say all the reasons it don't work and come up with excuses. They're never going to be my customer. You say, I'm looking for motivated college kids that are tired of being bullied and they want a absolute, no questions asked, stop the bullying answer in less than 30 days without having to, all the things that you found on the internet that they hate, so that they can walk to school and smile with their friends and not worry about who's going to be around the corner or down the hall or around the way, okay? And you don't say so that they can live bully free. You talk about the transformation they can have. Now that you have that message, you can attach that message to any element of your map. Okay? So when you pull one of these chunks out of here, you're going to use that message. Like, look at each one of my chunks here. Notice how I went in and made a message for each one of them, but it all applies to the core. Build high converting, how much high converting quality lead magnets in how long? In under an hour, and lower your lead cost by how much? 5 times without what? The stress. That's only speaking to my coaches, consultants, and online business course creators and all that stuff. Martial arts business owners, anybody with knowledge, expertise. Quickly unleash. How fast? Quickly. Do what? Unleash endless avalanche of high profitable, what kind of traffic? It's free traffic with the hardwired viral map. What the hell's the hardwired viral map? What it means is you've got this map. All of it can go viral if you just find the person that's looking for it, and it's hardwired into your entire product. So that's what I call it, which is stupid, because I should have just said your product. It's baked into your product or something. Okay? There's me breaking my own rule. So show up everywhere. Show up where? Everywhere. Okay? How and when? 24/7. With who? Your perfect prospects. Ready to buy how much? How much are you going to boost the profits? 15 to 25%. It's got a metric, it's got a timeline, and it's related to my core avatar. I could relate this to show up everywhere your bow hunting clients are, but now I just siphoned myself down into only appealing to bow hunters. You want to focus on anybody that has the bullying problem, okay? But when you start out and when you go and you get into your thing here, as you expand, that message is going to resonate with anybody that's being bullied. You could even say, I help motivated people, but that doesn't get very, okay? I help motivated people that are being bullied, that are tired of being bullied. Now you've segmented down. Okay, anybody that's not being bullied is not listening anymore. Okay, but when you have the option to run ads to XYZ college between ages X and Y, you can say, I help motivated college kids that are being bullied, because there's millions of them, more than you could ever serve, if you could serve as many as you could ever serve. So just focus on that, and then when you have the change sitting in the bank to go after, purple cows, then you can get crazy. But just focus on the lowest hanging fruit. Take the shiniest object out of your whole process here, and then take that thing out of it, which you did, and then create another little micro map, little micro course over it, and then teach that to them. And then when you're done, pull out and say, hey, this thing that I taught you that you now know, didn't say you were going to be good at it or you could go, use it on a ninja in the streets, but this is only one little piece out of our 9-part process here to make sure that you're absolutely bully free. This is only just a section of the process, because if you don't have, this is going to be really hard for you if you don't understand this and this and this and these things. Now you just became super valuable. You're just being honest, and you're not having to be cheesy or some sales freak. You're just showing the product. When you go buy a Porsche, I don't know why I keep saying it. It's my favorite brand of car or something, I guess. When you go to Porsche, they're not like, are you sure you don't want it? Hey, why don't you try it? You can't even find anybody. Like, they're usually just like sitting over at their desk. They don't even come up and talk to you. Like, you got to kind of give them an eye, give them a little nod that you want to know something, because they know better. Like, the damn car just sells itself. You don't have to sell a Porsche, right? You have to qualify for one. That's the thing that you can turn your business into. Like, you can't just join my program. You have to qualify, right? So because of that, it's valuable to people, right? But I also have to show why it matters, which is what I'm doing right now. So does that help? Because you had your avatar, you had your asset. I think you just started thinking. Don't do that. Follow that system now. So you've got your roadmap, you've got your avatar, you've got your asset, you know what you're saying, you know what you're closing, you know what you're doing. Now what you need to do is you need to take that shiny object that you have out now. You need to create a PDF on it. Okay, so make a picture with it. Okay, just I don't care what it looks like. All right, you've seen mine. Any kind of map, any kind of diagram, show me what I can't actually see. Show the tools or whatever you said, the strikes. I would just show them on here. Do the strike, screenshot it, put it on there. Use Canva, Keynote, PowerPoint, whatever. Draw it on a pencil. I don't care. It doesn't matter, seriously. Sticky note, hold sticky notes up. Here's the map. I made it easy for you guys. I just put on sticky notes. On the next page, I'm going to show you how this actually works. So download that, and then they're going to get that free training, and you're just going to walk them through that 6F framework that I gave you. Okay? And then make sure that you attach the 7-figure sentence to it in your headline. And, this is just going to be a 10 to 15-minute video. You're going to walk them through it, but then if you're following the 6F method, then you're going to frame it out for them and come back here and zoom it out, right? And you're gonna context over content, and then you're gonna ask for the appointment. And then we start running ads. What I would do, what you should do, is in the beginning, turn all of these into a lead magnet, and then run them all, $5-10 a day. Find out which one is the racehorse that wins. And then start scaling using our scaling methods. Because they're all, they're not going to, and you're showing them what, not how. They have to pay for the how. Now, every once in a while, you can do a how and go deep on it, because you're just going to make people extremely happy. Like Ernest earlier. He was like, this is cool. Like, you helped me a lot, right? Yeah, when you're training them, so when you're doing just a lead magnet situation, now there's 2 versions of this. I haven't taken you there yet, because I don't want you to get all twisted up here. Let's keep it simple. But there's two types of these lead magnet types, okay? You got one up here where you're just basically taking them through this PDF file that you created, which is actually like real. You're not just, this isn't something we're just throwing together to catch you or turn, it's not a marketing trick or something. It's like your actual process. Like you're going to actually explain it to them. But you know how I've been explaining this whole thing this whole time? But I haven't actually shown you the script and how to do it, or I haven't shown you how to set up retargeting, but I've told you what to do. And you feel like you're learning a lot, which you are, but go set up some retargeting for me right now. Exactly. So, it's like, hey, you can look at the car all you want, pal. You can lick the seat if you want. Just don't let us catch you, but you could do it. You can sit in there and pretend you're driving. Hell, you can take it around the block. But if you want this value, you're going to pay for it, as you should, because I don't even want to know the engineering money behind that thing. So the point is so true. The experience of doing it is so important. Yeah, 100%. So what you're going to do, Donnie, is you're going to, and normally we would be diving right in, but I don't think we really need to. I mean, so the thing that we're going to do here is basically you're going to have this PDF. It's going to look like this. Well, here's my PDF. This literally has been one. Okay. I'm just walking you through it. And it's been valuable for the people that have never heard this or seen this or anything. They're like, this is awesome. And it is. Like, if you've never even had this much of it explained to you, it's great information. I remember my first time, I was like, wow. Like, because I wanted to know. All right. But I can walk you through this and you can feel like you got a grip on it and you'll take notes and, and then you'll go try to do it and you'll realize that there's a little bit more to it than just knowing what. And then you'll come back, or you'll try to patch together a bunch of YouTube videos that are probably people that watch this video because I put it on YouTube, and then they're trying to like. So, and see right now what's happening is like this inception thing, right? Like, this is like. Right now, I'm doing this right now. Like this thing right here that I'm telling you to do, I'm doing right now. Now I'm going deep with it just because it's Friday night and I decided I wanted to go deep with it. So, but I just wanted to do it. All right. So that's what I'm doing. All right. Kids were out swimming. I just ate some food and I was sitting in front of my computer and I literally was like, you know what? I've got 20-something thousand people on an email list that are martial arts people, and I'm going to just pop out a thing. I literally put a 20-minute timer on it. Like it was like 20 minutes till I decided to do this, and I just threw it out there. And so here we are, but what's great is right now I'm creating all my YouTube video. I'm creating my next emails. I could break this up into several emails. This is like, and all I'm doing is I'm training off of this map, you see? Like, I'm not talking about anything else. It's all in relation to one of these steps in the map. Ernest says, thank you, Mike. Appreciate what you are doing. This is for us tonight. I appreciate my time with you as well. You're so much like a buddy to all of us. I really like that about you. Thanks. Thank you, Ernest. I'm glad that you are finding value in this, and I'm glad you like it. I hope you're getting a lot of value from it. It's awesome. So what you want to do, though, here is you basically have these two options. Number one is you can go where you just have your map. Okay, so this could be the map just for this. Now, if I was just going to teach about the free traffic, I would set it up the same way as the big map. I would break up my free traffic into step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I could have 3 little things to talk about each of those things. Well, but my step 7 isn't 9 things. Make it 9 things. I could make 50 steps out of peanut butter and jelly. Turn right, open the drawer. Bend over, grab the knife. Pull the knife back out. take it at an angle into the peanut butter. See, take the lid off, set it over here. Okay? Just go granular, but just stick to this so you don't go crazy. Systems keep you out of the nut house. So you create these 9 steps for your little striker program. So the 10 strikes each have 3 steps. Okay? 9 strikes. Okay? All right? 3 steps each. And then what you can do is you have 2 options. This is the 2 options. So you have the lead magnet out here, and you're running the ad, and the ad is just a picture of the lead magnet that you made on Canva. Fiverr, somebody made it for you. You know, you can just, like, I could take this map right here because it's got, like, headings, and it's got a message underneath it. I just stuck these little icons in here myself. I just made this literally on Keynote. And I could take this, go to Fiverr for $5. I could say, hey, turn this into a cool infographic. And then we would go back and forth a couple times and decide on it. And it'd be like $5. And I'd have it in a couple days. Don't need to do that, but you could. If you're not a designer person, just don't eat a hot dog and a pop that day and go get something done from Fiverr at $5, okay? So, or whatever you eat and drink. No offense to anything, okay? So then what you would do is you would take your little new map that you had made or whatever, use Canva, Keynote, whatever, and you got this map. You're showing somebody a map while everybody else is like, oh, come on, watch my video. I'm going to show you the 9 things to whenever a bully does it, and I'm good, and there's all my belts, and I got all this, and they're like, they're like, dude, ugh. And you're like, all right, I'm going to walk you through. Here's a free PDF download of this cheat sheet. I'm going to walk you through actually how to get out of the woods. And you're going to start here, and you're going to end up here. And then again, just use for the actual text in the ad, just use the 6F method. And then for the headline, just use the 7-figure sentence, okay? And you're going to call out your audience, obviously, if you're following this. And then what you're going to do is, when they click on that, they're going to go to your funnel, they're going to opt in, and there's going to be 2 things that's going to happen here. Number 1, we're just going to keep this simple, and you could call step this up here, option 1, we're going to call gangster. And then option 2 over here, we're going to call short on time, SOT. Okay? So the G way is take this and make a micro course out of it, go into your ClickFunnels, use the course template, and actually create a course that has, here's module 1, 2, 3, and just create those modules in here. And when they opt in and they click on a module, inside of each module is going to be 3 steps. And then there's going to be the video right over here teaching that. And they're going to be like, this is crazy. Like, this guy's showing me all this for a freaking email. Like, this is nuts. Like, he went gangster and, like, taught me this whole, like, thing and spent, like, 2 hours and it's like a 2-hour course, man. And guess what happens with that thing? Share. And then in that whole thing that you're doing, you're constantly all throughout these modules here, okay, and you're getting leads for freaking breakneck nothing because it's getting opted in a lot. So your pixel's going, give it to them more. And it's like Facebook starts to feed you. YouTube starts to feed you, okay? And then you're starting to go, you're getting like $2 leads, okay? Those are our numbers. Those are not promised, but they're pretty normal. So then what happens is this thing's going nuts. They're getting like righteous, crazy value. They're like, this dude's so cool, so awesome. And then there's a button down here in the course, and there's a button up here that if they click on it, they schedule a call with you. All right. And then they're getting massive value. The other cool thing is you just created a whole section of your course that you can sell now later for $3 to $6K, because you would just go ahead and create one of those for the rest of these. Okay, so you're going to teach this as if you're going to sell it to your actual paying customers. So that's why I said it is the gangsta. But because it's only one piece out of your full-on curriculum and process and solution. And they know that because you're constantly throughout your whole thing, you're always like I've been doing. I keep leaning back into this and giving you context. Like, look, that's just a piece of this pie. Like what we're talking about right now is just literally this. Okay? So you do that, and this is gangster. This has really great results. It just, because they're like, I like this guy. I've hung out with this guy. I'll bet you Ernest and Sun Woo Patrick I can't quite see it, Jinatat, okay? I bet both of those people feel a little bit different about me now, and when I send my next emails, there'll be a little bit different kind of meaning to it than before. Sun Woo, I like it. So, you see, like, that's what happens here. And so, Ernest may never become a client, and Sun Woo, I'm just going to call you Sun Woo, I'm sorry. Patrick may never become a client, okay? But that doesn't matter because they might tell somebody else, and this is what happens with the gangster method. Now, I'm doing sort of like a sloppy, off-the-hip, freestyle gangster method, but this short-on-time method, which still works very well, is where when they opt in, you just, underneath the video on that page, you would have a button where they can just download the PDF, and then in about 10 minutes following the 6F method, a shortened version of the 6F method, you're just not going to go into so much intensity on each of the Fs. You're going to then just walk them through that. You're going to clearly have it on. I mean, literally, I would be like, when I did mine, I'm like, all right, so you just opted in for the ultimate student magnet. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to walk you through this thing. So you can download it. It's right underneath the video. All you got to do now is just let me help you with it. So let's jump on the screen, and then I'd go into my screen thing. You could do it like you could zoom out on the mat. You could explain it here. You could do all those things, right? And you just walk through it, and you go through the 6F method with it, and they can download it. They have it. The cool thing about the download, when you do it, here's what you do. You have if it was this PDF right here, you have a cover thing that has either your picture on it, smiling, going, yo, no, whatever you want. It needs to have some sort of identification brand to it. It's just a cover letter, and it's got a picture of your thing on it here, and it's got a picture of you smiling, and okay, or whatever, okay? Picture your building, your class, whatever. You just create this in PowerPoint or Keynote, and then you export it as a PDF. Then the next page is the actual map that you created on Canva, Fiverr, wherever you did it on pencil, okay, literally. And then this bottom one is like, you want us to teach you ourselves and help you? Click right here, and you just put a link in it, and it goes to the same page up here, goes to that appointment page. So when they download this, they're going to look at it maybe. They'll think they will, and they want to, but they probably won't because they'll get distracted or something. And then if they do look at it, and they would if you do a really good job here, okay? Like the next email or maybe next couple emails, Ernest and Patrick might open them, maybe, okay? But they may not, right? Maybe I didn't do as good as I thought, or maybe whatever, okay? Who knows? But I have a better chance now than I did before, okay? But these people will have this if they go check on it, and then they remember this video of you walking them through that, and then this button goes to the appointment, okay? So they can set an appointment with you because you're going to give context. In this version up here, instead of them clicking to download the thing, they're going to a page to opt in for free to open up a free course that they think is just going to be some shamby thing, and it's actually something super gangster, and they're going to be like, whoa, if this is what he's giving me for free, and he's like blowing my mind with this, I can't imagine what his course would be like, okay? And then this video, when they opt in, they get their first email that goes out to them is a link back to the video, as you know already, Donnie, and then it also has a link to, download this. And this is just a 3-part thing. It's just an intro with like your school, your brand, your name on it, and a kind of a cool cover. Again, Fiverr, or just do something simple. It's not about fancy. It's about content. Okay. And then the next page is just the map that hopefully you just built in like I did here. Like I literally I didn't get fancy here. I could have. Okay. Don't need to. And then this last page is just an invite. And that just goes to the appointment page where they can set that calendar up. Okay. So that is the short on time, 10 to 15 minute, walk them through it still, deliver tons of value. The gangster one, how do I know which one to use, Mike? Well, if you're going to build a course anyway, then build your course like we teach you in our course in step 3, but then take a chunk out of that course and, give it to them. So like what I could do, like in the Dojo Student Blueprint, if we were to go jump in the Dojo Student Blueprint real quick. Okay, what people pay for. Okay, you guys are getting an extra treat tonight. Let's see here. New window. Okay, let's go to Okay, so this is what our actual clients get. Okay, so here we're in week 1, and like this Dojo Student Blueprint where, they can click on it, and then, I take them through these actual processes. Dude, my computer is going to need to be thrown out the window after this because it is tripping out. But when they go through all this, what I could do, Donnie, since I'm see that process map there? What I can do is I could just take these videos just in this one module here, and I could strip them out of the course, and all the resources and videos, scripts, and the pinups that show like all the processes that I take you guys through. I could take all this where we show like the retargeting and automated follow-up and everything, and I could take all those pictures and all that stuff and just put that over in its own little course. And then I could tell people, hey, here's how our Dojo Student Blueprint machine works. And I would give them all these modules here. And they would be like, what in the freaking crap? This is awesome. And then while I'm teaching them this, I'd be like, now, there's also how we get students and all the PDFs and everything that you get for that. And all the resources and everything that you need to go through, like the little PDFs here, okay, where we give you your funnel and your inbound site that we build for you. Because there's like all these sheets here, and where one click, you have all your funnels, and then here's all of our tools that we use and the other videos that teach you how to lay things out. And then I give you my actual breakdown of my videos, so you can just literally copy it basically and just put your stuff in there. And so I would take them through and give them that context, like here's the science of sign up, here's our, our conversion framework that we give you so that when you get on a phone call, you know exactly how to handle it, what to say, what to prepare for on the call, how to handle it, blah, blah, blah. And then they would be like, oh man, there's a lot that I don't know, like in Facebook here where we show you every single thing, or like the fast track where there's everything you can get done pretty much if you're a gangster in a day. And then all the calls that they get that go forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever that are calls just like they're on right now. They don't realize they're on one of our just Q&A calls. So that is like where they're like, oh, well, there's a lot more to this story and I want it. Like the one-on-one support that they get for live, or the private group that they get access to. So that's how you do that, is like I just give them a piece of the pie. I give them a line of cocaine, as I call it, which is like probably bad to say, but that's where you do that. Like I just did. Like Patrick and Ernest are probably like, damn it, I want in there right now. But so, and that's what I was doing, right? And everybody knows that. So, but I was just trying to give you like context, right? It's like when they see the actual context of where it all goes, but now they're in your world and they're going, somebody actually has the answer. Like, because if I didn't, then I couldn't have Patrick and Ernest on here with us, because I wouldn't have known how to get martial arts people here. So, it's like, but I'm not being fancy. I'm not being trickery. I mean, I'm being kind of loose and funny or I'm not being like, all right, now the next thing, because we'd all be drooling and dead on the table, asleep, gone probably. So you got, but I'm just talking about the product. I'm just showing like what you actually do. And that's all you have to do. Like you have so much of that. You have so much that you could be sharing that people are like afraid to share. And yet Porsche will let you go. If, you go down there, you can test drive a $250,000 car around the block. And they're like willing to do that. But you better have some nice clothes on. Because I went into a dealership one time to do that, and they're like, nope, because you don't look like you could afford it, which they should have thought twice about that. But anyway, so just wear something nice and carry a briefcase with a handcuff on it and your hand on it. But they let you experience it and do it, and they'll spend the time to show it to you, and they'll lift the hood, and they'll let you turn it on, and the whole 9 yards. And that is what people are not doing. They are, but here's the problem. They're doing it in the old-fashioned way because most people, they're first off not getting their information from booths and flyers and stuff like that. And then when you do it and it works, it's kind of like playing blackjack. It's like first time you go to Vegas, you play blackjack for the first time and you win, and then you're like, oh, and then you go again and you're broke. So what happens, people will do a booth, people will do a thing, they'll sign a couple people up, but the time and energy and effort when you could do this, and it's actually way better, and it's metriced out. You can see everything. Okay? So why would you it's like, Bill, why are you still riding a horse, man? Like we have cars. Like, come on, Bill, like we missed you at the party, man. You got Okay? So, all right, Mr. Patrick, go ahead. You can unmute yourself. Awesome. I just watched a show about Switzerland. It was like it had the most awesome homes ever. That's like it's the world's or most incredible homes or something. There's like 4 from Switzerland, and I was like, I want to go there. Like the mountains there are amazing. Anyway, I love your accent, by the way. Nice to meet you. Nice to have you on here. What's your question? Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay. That was the I abbreviated blueprint. Yeah, so they need you can call it whatever you'd like, but at the end of the day, gosh, my speaker, I don't know what is going on with it. Okay. At the end of the day though, what they need is, and I'll kind of do it again, they need to be motivated and they need to be focused. And then what they need here in the next stage is they need to have your blueprint or your roadmap. They need that path. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, hey, Grandpa, how do I ride a bike? He's like, all right, first you need to put the kickstand up, and then you need to get on the bike, right? So that's the steps. It may, and if you can write them out or draw them out, I don't care if it's on literally like paper. Okay? Like blueprints for those beautiful homes in Switzerland is just a drawing on a paper, and it's if you follow the blueprint, you're going to have it. Okay? But you're going to need support. And so that's the final box here. And so how do you use this? And this is how you get to success, by the way, not just more students. This is just life, success, happiness, anything. You're going to need this. None of us could be here without any of this stuff. We all needed support to get here. We all needed, the support. People are like, well, yeah, but, well, what was the support right now that I'm using? Well, I sure as hell didn't build this camera or that computer. Whoever built it is supporting me right now. So, and then I need to have somebody help me, show me how to do it or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Support doesn't always show up in the form of like somebody on a headset. How can I help you? This is support. Like, it's not that, right? They need somebody to show them or have the way built or be there for them. And so when you're creating your message or when you're creating your stuff, you're mainly trying to disqualify the wrong people. Does that make sense? Like, and how you do that, people are always like, their messaging and their pricing attracts the wrong people. People say, well, yeah, we get people, but they don't pay sometimes, and then I ask them like, well, how much are you charging? And they're like $40 a month. And I'm like, well, look who you're attracting. Like, you don't see Ferraris parked at Dollar General. You don't see Ferraris at the dollar store. You don't see Learjets parked in Walmart parking lot, which I don't think they can, so that's probably why. But what I'm trying to say is you're going to find, fancy people in nice restaurants. You need to be reassuringly expensive, right? You need to charge, like, what's it worth to be able to protect yourself? Like, how do you, like, that's like, you're basically asking me, like, what's a life worth? And we're out here like, oh, it's $10, or we're like, it's $100 a month or whatever. And that's, okay, but you need to be at minimum around $150 a month. That's US, whatever that would be in Swiss. But what I want to really impart on you is this. You attract who you are, or you attract what you put out. And so it's really important that you be reassuringly expensive. I charge what I charge, but my clients make 10 to 100 times. I mean, it's actually unknowable how many times more they're going to make, just because I don't know how long they're going to live or how much they're going to allow the scale to happen. But what I'm teaching and what I share with you is not like, let me put it this way. I back everything up for life. Like, when you become a client of mine, you become a client of mine for life. Like, I will help you for life. It's not a question of whether or not we're going to help you get students or not. That's not the question. The question is, how many do you want, and are you going to show up? Because I cannot do your push-ups for you, but if you show up, we will get it done. This is what we do. Okay? Absolutely. Yep. Yes. And what you do is, if you show them like how to do it, then they don't need to pay you because you showed them. Yeah. So you want to show them what to do. And if you do show the how, just show the how off of one of the little blocks here, and make sure, it's so important that you make sure that you bring it back to the context of where this thing fits into that process, okay? Because if you don't do that, then they're going to go away thinking that's it, and they're going to do it, and then they're going to not get the result because they don't have the other 8 pieces, and they're going to fail, and they're going to blame that on you and say, you don't know what you're talking about. So it's really important not only for them to have the right answer and know that this is just one of the pedals off the bike, not the whole bike, but it's also important for you because it's going to show them your other true value, and they're not going to blame you for failure in that instance. And you got to make sure of that, that they understand that. So, but what you're going to do is understand one thing is, your client is not paying for the drill or the hole. They're paying for the transformation the hole gave them. Okay, because of the hole in the wall, I could hang my daughter's picture up and I could be a superhero in her eyes. That's why I bought the drill. And so it's, what are the features? Okay. What are the benefits? All right, great. But what is the transformation? That's what we're buying here. And if you want to do this really well, you want to find a common group of people, a small group of people that all have the same problem, that are all complaining about the same things. And you can find these everywhere. Okay, like I was showing you guys, I didn't go any further with it. Let me pull it back up here. Let's see. Let me go to incognito window. Okay, so when you go looking for this stuff, all you have to do is like go out here to YouTube. Okay, what is it? What do you teach, Patrick? Okay, so if you think about your ideal client, okay, so what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, first, before you can find your ideal client, you have to get a list of all the things that you can increase and decrease in someone's life. So when I help a lot of people, some people, like I'll help them like start a bit, like they want to be an entrepreneur and start a business, and they're like, well, what should I do? Like, what should I sell? What we'll do with them is we'll create this, golly, this crazy. What we'll do is we'll create this. You guys have probably already seen this, maybe, where, you know, this is what we're trying to figure out right here, which is the gold. Okay. But what I'll have them do is I'll have them write down what's all your passions and interests. Okay. So passions, interests, loves, all the things that you would do, broker, rich. And then what are all the skills that you have? Okay. So if your passion's martial arts or Chinese martial arts, and then you'd ask yourself, what are all the skills that I have in it? What are all the things I can increase in somebody's life? What are all the things I can decrease in their life? Then when we have these two things figured out, okay, which we already know yours is Chinese martial arts, okay, I'm assuming. We still need this part. What's all the things I can increase and decrease? Then once we have those two things, I can go out and find market demand. So before, remember when I said, you know, a lot of people, they'll come up with an idea in the shower, and then they'll go out to the market and try to convince people that it's cool and they should buy it and blah, blah, blah. The right way is to figure out what you're skilled in, in other words, what problems can you solve in a market or area that you love. Because if you really love it and you're really passionate about it, you'll have the oomph to get through the work it takes. It's not hard work, you just have to show up. All right? Like doing sit-ups is not hard. You just got to show up and do them, right? So okay. Then I think about, okay, well, I'm really in Chinese martial art. I'm just going to make this up. I might terribly mess it up, so don't take anything. So I would say, all right, well, in Chinese martial arts, I'm really good at helping people with anxiety through meditation, through the Chinese martial art meditation style or something. Okay, I'm making it up again. So what I would do then is I would say, okay, well, how much meditation can I help them with? You know, and I'll say, well, I can help you completely empty your mind in less than 7 minutes with my XYZ process without you having to take a pill or, you know, drink a beer or something, you know, like whatever it is, or like freak out, so that you can, you know, remove that anxious feeling and focus back on your homework. Okay. What I'll do then is I will go and I will ask the marketplace, I will say, do people even care about this? And so I would say, well, what would my customer now that I know the problem I'm solving, which is the problem of anxiety and panic attacks, I would then ask myself, well, what's the 3 a.m. test here? Like, what is my person that's waking up sweating and freaking out? Why are they anxious? Like, what are they going to say at 3 a.m.? Are they going to be like, God, I don't know how I'm going to pay all these bills, and it's like freaking me out, and I can't sleep. Like, okay. So like, maybe it's like that, right? So then if that's what I would think they would say, I'd be like, how do I pay all these and nothing, and it doesn't come up? Okay, well, that's not it. Then I'd be like, how do I get rid of, and if I just press this is a really cool tool. Like, people tell you about all these tools. All you got to do is this, okay? If I put the letter A in here, it's going to show me everything after how to get rid of, and the things that are closer to the top are getting typed in more than the things that are down here. But these are showing you what people are actually typing in, and as I come down here, bam, it shows up in the top like 10. So I click on it, and there's an ad for it. This is good news, because unless that person's out of their mind and insane and crazy, people don't run ads unless they're making money, because that's what ads are designed to do, is to make money. If you're running ads and they're not making money, then stop doing that, and something's wrong. But I see that there is ads running for this. This is good. And then I look at these videos and I look at the view counts, and I'm like 96,000, 82,000, 2.7 million. Okay, there's enough people that are interested in this how to cope with anxiety thing. So I go to this one, since it's got a lot of views. I click on it. I pause it, and my stereo goes crazy. I've never had this problem before. I pause it, and I come down here, and there's 5,300 comments, and I'm like, wow, this is like a real sensitive like, this, people care about this. So I go to sort, and I go to newest first. This was made in 2017, and 1 day ago somebody commented on it. Whew. This is still a hot topic. Anyone know why I'm always a second option for everyone in my life? I just got my first Facebook ad copy message figured out. Have you ever felt like you're like always like the second option in everyone else's life? Have you ever felt like that? Well, I've got this cheat sheet where I'm going to show you how, in 3 steps here, it's going to take you about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to walk you through how to never have the feeling that you're a second option in somebody's life, because you're really not, actually. And so I'm going to break this down. It comes with a free training. Download it right here. So I didn't come up with any of this. I just went and grabbed it out of the market. Look, I am hurting people I care about because I have anxiety. Have you ever felt bad and you have this anxiety already, but you feel even worse because you're being hurtful to the people that you care about? I don't write my copy, my customer does, and they're telling me everything. Look, I didn't even know I had it till I saw this video. I've been looking up stuff for 3 days straight, and this is finally what I needed. Now I know the issue. I can finally resolve it. I've had anxiety for the past few months now. I'm just on one video, by the way. There's like a bazillion over here on the side, and it's endless. 9.9 million, okay? And look, all your answers. I feel anxiety. So when you go to do your research and you find all of this stuff, if I were to go through all 5,300 of these comments, and I actually would, that's how psycho I am. But what I would do is I would take these and I would copy and paste the ones that are asking questions, the ones that are literally talking about pain or happy, either side of the spectrum, or they're talking about their block, and I'd put it in a big Google Docs. And what I would do is I'd start to see a pattern emerge, and I would see like this is the kind of language they talk with. This is how they describe their pain, how they describe their desires, how they describe the struggle and the challenges. And I would start to figure these words that they use to describe themselves and their pain. And I would also start to find patterns of this, like, top 3 overarching issues that keep showing up with it, right? Like, if, let's just say, for instance, and to save time, that these people are constantly saying things like, I'm always, hurting people around me. And I found out that was like the big thing. That would be like, you know, in my message, in my videos, I would start relating things to that, because I know that's a high vibration out there, right? So this is how you do this. Look, I'm crying while watching this. I don't know what to do anymore. That's why I'm here. Okay. Have you ever felt like you don't know what to do anymore? You see what I mean? Like, I feel this anxiety problem when I talk with strangers. You don't need to think. All you need to do is go look. All the answers are just laying there for you. They're just literally just, I mean, look. So if we're talking about like Chinese martial arts, okay? But look at it. Okay, so Chinese martial arts. Okay, first thing that comes up, movies, drama, music, training. Okay? Online Chinese training, speak Chinese, okay? Women's self-defense training taught by women, okay? Kung Fu online courses, learn Kung Fu online. Take this, open link in new window so we can check it out. I always go to like competitors and I look, get the taste of it first. Definitely not what I would have there. This is not just an online course. This is a life-changing opportunity, what we offer to you. With this program, we open the gate to an incredible, precious knowledge, which is very rare in martial arts. I'm gone. You haven't addressed me. You haven't talked about my problem. Okay? You're already talking about what you get here. Okay? Now they're running ads to this. It's scary. I hope they see this video someday. Let's go look at this one. Welcome to Fox Fitness. Rule number 1, when you run an ad, you think about your person and what the state of mind is that they're in. And look, no pixel. Has no pixel on his site. It's like driving with your eyes closed. So this women's self-defense training, I visit the site. No woman in sight. Doesn't say anything about woman. 2 men rolling around on the ground again. Man, I can't believe they're spending money on this. And this is where I live. Shame on you. But then look, Suncoast Martial Arts, China training. So look, if I click on 4.6. Can you guys hear my stereo like freaking out? Do you guys ever hear that? Anyway, come down here, 816 comments. Newest first, 33 minutes. Okay. Let's see. Whoa, nice training. Okay, how can I start learning this? Wouldn't a lot of people like to help you with that? So, how can I start learning this? Okay. Where are you holding your classes now? Okay, let's see. I would never want to mess with them. Okay, let's see. Hi, like do. You gotta be focused. You only got to do this like a few times really good, and then you never have to do it again, because you see you see so much of the same thing all across the time spans that you really only need to do it like, every once in a while. But then you start talking to your customers that are like constantly asking you questions. Like, I've done thousands of calls and I ask them their problems, so I've heard like 10,000 problems from people, right? So it's like, and it's all the same. So how many times we complete the martial arts? How many rupees you want? I am in Pakistan. This is free martial arts. Is there? Okay. So what I'm seeing here is, there's people like, I want to do this. I want to do this. But I'm not seeing like, I want to learn martial arts, but how can you tell me how to meet you or send my mobile number so I can contact? I am Taekwondo. I am eager to learn it. We can be taught me. Bangladesh. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Like, okay. You see how like it's a cool video and people are saying, yeah, I want to learn this. But the problem is I'm not seeing anybody like, this is like optional. Now, if I seen in here like, oh, I need to know this because like last night I got, attacked in my, and then I kept seeing that, yeah, me too. Like I was, then that would be different. If all hell breaks loose, pardon my French or whatever, but people are not going to be like, sandwich or kung fu training, right? You want to make sure that you're focused on something critical. When you get to a size where you have like ability to do just crazy stuff, like, oh, I want to build rockets, SpaceX. Okay, well, he had millions and bazillions of dollars before he even started SpaceX. Okay, he sold PayPal and his half was like 400 mil. Okay, it wasn't like he just like bootstrapped it. I know he has stories of, okay, anyway. So the point I'm trying to get is it's got to be critical. Now, how did we make Chinese martial arts critical? Well, if we did that increase and decrease sheet, you could say, well, I can increase somebody's strength or focus or whatever, right? So how do I focus? And I just press the space bar. If I go A, if I go B, how do I focus better? How do I focus better at work? How do I focus binoculars? Okay. So, and then I go C, and I just go through the alphabet. How to focus camera, how to focus channel, how to focus concentration. Okay, concentration, focus, A, B, C, D. How do I focus during online classes? Now, if Johnny or Sally does not pass their online classes, this is a critical thing. How many people are taking online classes? A lot. Can Chinese martial arts help you focus on online classes? Well, it can help you focus, like any martial art. Would you be okay if 1,000 people paid you X dollars to learn the focus techniques of Chinese martial arts to help them do better in their classes? Yeah, you'd be cool with that. Okay. So, yeah, he did. So, I love his story, Elon Musk's story. But look, you can, how do I focus? Look at this. How do I focus on my homework? How do I focus on one thing at a time? Why would people be typing? How do I focus on myself and be happy? How do I focus on myself? Do we see any ads? I don't see any ads. Okay. Let's see. You notice how the views, you don't see like a bunch of like millions of views. Okay. This one does, but it's got like, it's these motivational things, but you gotta look past all that. Okay. How to love yourself to the core. But then you have to ask yourself, like, is that the part that I really care about? Or is that a piece out of your puzzle that you could draw those people in? And then when you teach them that in your free micro course or in your lead magnet, then you show them the rest of the story. And a certain percentage of them, I promise you, will buy your other thing. Okay? So, and plus you're going to, when they opt in to get the how to focus better, they're on your email list, and you follow them up with all these emails that are just basically breadcrumbing. Like, I'm going nuts right now. I mean, I've been on this thing for almost 3 hours now. I'm out of my mind passionate and fanatical about this stuff, and I had some free time here on Friday night. So instead of getting drunk at the pub, I thought I would help people. Okay. So the thing is you don't have to do what I'm doing. Okay. You'll end up doing it anyway. Just because you're passionate about it. Okay. I mean, I can't stop myself from this. So the thing is you can take this and you can, really help them, and you can really show them some cool stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm glad, Ernest, I'm glad to hear that. That's why we're doing this, man. That's awesome. Let's see, Elon. Yeah, this is cool. I'm glad this is the whole point. I wanted people to walk away with value. So you come in here and you actually look at this, 10 million views. How to get your brain to focus. So what you do is you're not selling your course based off of that. That's the crumb that got them into your world. And I'll bet you, if we took every person, that all 10 million of them that watched this, how to get your brain to focus, I'll bet you we could get, I don't even know the number, but we could get a fair amount, enough for you to be really happy, that want to do Kung Fu or learn Chinese martial arts. There, out of that 10 million people, there's probably several thousand that are already doing martial arts that way. Do you see what I mean? Let me ask you this. I know exactly what you're saying. Do you think alligators in Florida are very similar to the ones in Switzerland? Okay, what about you guys? You guys have cows. Okay, I'm sure the cows in Switzerland are very similar to the cows here in Kansas. That's okay. Here's what you need to understand. If you're in Switzerland and I'm in Kansas, if I can't focus and you can't focus, it don't matter where we're at. Okay? But here's what is the same, the problem. It's not it so here's what you think about. When you go on there to do your research, you got to realize that zebras in Kansas, there's not any. They're the same as the zebras in Africa. They may have an accent, or they may, have a little different diet, but they're the same. All their little characteristics and a lot of that stuff, you're going to find the exact same. Here's what's important about that. When you go to run your ads after you've done your research, now if you're teaching an online course, you can really take advantage of that. But because we found all those answers, here's what's crazy. When you go to run your ad, how you solve the focus in Switzerland is the same way you solve the focus in Kansas, right? Because it's a human problem, not a Switzerland and Kansas problem. So when you go to do your, when you take your focus cheat sheet, which is just out of your whole block of stuff, okay, focus is just one of the elements out of it, right? So it's just this little block that we tore off, and we're sticking it right in here. What we're going to do is this whole block from point A to point B solves the big core problem that you solve. Inside of your process, maybe, you teach people how to have better balance, like literally, like physically, right? Well, you could show that to skateboarders, surfers, ballerinas. You could. But that's just a piece out of your pie. The whole pie solves one big core problem. But inside of that core problem, you have like 9 secondary little problems that it solves. And if you solve all these little secondary problems, you solve the big core problem. Or in other words, this whole thing. If you solve this, this, and this together, and you do them all, you're going to get from A to B. When you run this little thing about focus or whatever, you're only going to run that in, I don't know what Switzerland looks like. This is Switzerland to me right now. You're just going to run that, and you live right here. You're just going to run that in this radius here with your ads, but you're going to be using focus, however your language says it, or however the keywords, okay? They're still talking about the core idea of focus. And when you run that process here, you're just going to run it in your local area. So when you get people on your list for focus, because I'm sure there's people probably close to you right now that are not focused, and you can get them into here and they would say, wow, thanks for the focus help. And then when you zoom out and show them the rest of this, a certain percentage of those people are going to be like, oh, I didn't even know that, Chinese martial arts was just a mile down the street or a kilometer or whatever. Okay? So that's how you do that, is you're taking the problem. Here's what a lot of people do. I'm guilty of this. Everything that I say wrong that people do, I've already done. That's how I figured out how to not do it. So here's what a lot of people do. They're like, I just work with this person and I solve all of this person's problems. Okay? What you want to do is you want to solve this problem, and then anybody that has this problem, you can serve. So you never run out of audiences. You can sell your barbecue sauce to people that love barbecue competitions. You can sell it to people at baseball games. You can sell it to people that host events and cater. There's uses for your barbecue sauce all over the place, all these different kinds of people. And you can find out, well, the people that buy our barbecue sauce the most are people that are farmers in Kansas that love steak or something. So you would market, the main market you're paying attention to is the farmers and whatever, because they're going to give you the money to market the rest of these people without sweating, because these people are secondary in comparison to the one that's going to pay the most. Like if you look at like the people that buy Mac the most are like filmmakers, designers, art type people. They're using the machine for like heavy computing, right? They're not just word processing or browsing the internet. They're like running big 3D programs, and they need massive artillery here. So they're going to focus the core of their message to this, but cowboys in Africa use Macs to, figure out where to buy shampoo for their horse or something, right? Like but those are secondary. If they focused on that, they'd go broke. But because the farmer that has horses with bad shampoo hangs out with an artist that made the saddle design for his horse, he learned that Mac was good for that, and so now he bought a Mac, and then the other farmer was like, okay, well, I'll get a Mac. And that's how that happens, right? But they don't focus their messaging towards this person. So you're going to have, like I said, you're going to have in your product, first you got to write this thing out. You got to get all the stuff out of your head into a mind map. You're like, okay, first you have to do this. And then you have to do this. But before you can do this, you got to do this. It's like, always think like that when you're building out your product. You got to put the order of the steps together in such a way that it can't be done without doing the previous step first. Like you can't get an apple until the branch grows. There's no way to get the apple unless you 3D print it or something. I think they're working on that. But if you in nature, you got to have the trunk first, and then the branches, and then the apple. You can't do it in a reverse order. That's the same way you set up this process. Because if you don't do it that way, and then you do this trick over here where we peel a piece off, and you relate it back, you can be like, well, you could just do that, but it's a lot better if you do it all together. No. You can do this, but it's not going to work unless you have the rest of the story. If you're trying to solve this big core problem, which would be the problem your course solves as a whole. So if we think of the training that you do in person locally, you can find out how people talk about the problems inside of your product, and you can peel it out, and you can run it as an ad, and you can, anybody that's got the focus problem, they're not thinking about Chinese martial arts at all. They're thinking, how do I focus better? Because if I don't pass this class, my mom is going to kill me because she paid $3 bazillion for me to go to this school. Okay? And they see your focus chart, or they see your map to focus better, and then they opt in and they watch your 10, 15-minute video, and at the end you're like, now, this is just a piece of this pie here, but if you really want to not, I don't know what you're solving. I don't know what problem you're solving, but let's just say it's self-defense for bullies or something. I'm just throwing something out there. This is just one piece of the pie. If you're really trying to, be able to defend yourself against a bully or something like that, you're going to need the rest of these pieces. And that person goes, well, I don't care about that. I don't get bullied. But 4 of them that did opt in are like crying every night because of bullies. And they came to you to focus better for their test. And they discovered the thing that they really wanted, which is what you really solve as a big core. And now you have 4 new students. And you brought them in that way. Like, how many things have you discovered? Like, I don't know if you do this. I'm just making stuff up. Let's say you went fishing and you love fishing. You're just out there fishing. And somebody, comes up to you and they have a fully electric fishing pole. It doesn't have, you just hold it and you get voice command. You're like, I had no idea this even, it's just like, I was out here fishing, doing what I like to do, and I found, this is amazing. That's what's happening here. So that I'm striking out. Switzerland is too high up in the mountains. Okay, so it's that's fine with me. I like all those things. So I'm definitely going to be visiting Switzerland because it looks so cool. Yeah. Yeah. So but what my point is you need to figure out, first off, that big core problem that you solve. You got to figure that out. You got it, because if we were to look at your business, as a timeline in a long string of events here, this is your entire business life as a martial artist. If we looked at every single student that ever came through and paid you, and we looked at the ones that always showed up, they were the best students, they kept doing it, we would say that these people were the best. We would find an absolute pattern here of the core reason that they are with you. Now, they're going to say things like this. I just really like Patrick. Man, he is... Oh, I love that guy. That's why I stay here. Yeah, I know, Bill. You've been here for 25 years. But when you first started, why did you come here? Oh, my back was killing me. I had flexibility problems. Oh, okay. And then we asked the next one. They're like, yeah, I wasn't very flexible. And, the Wing Chun or what. So, the problem you solve is people they're losing their flexibility, therefore can't function in life. Okay. So now that's where we lead into it. We go back over here, and even if it's in Switzerland or Kansas, we go, how do I become more, look at that, number 3. So how do I become more flexible? Let's click on it again and press spacebar. How do I become more flexible fast? How do I become more flexible for yoga? How do muscles become more flexible for dance, for beginners, in your back, for football? Okay? So now all of a sudden, and look, we've got an ad. Okay? It's talking about, okay? And then we've got, look, 8 million, 3 million. So this is a problem in Switzerland. This is a problem in Kansas. This is a problem on the moon, maybe someday. So now we can look in here and find patterns, and we're hearing the same problems over and over and over. Okay, great. Now we know that it's most likely that if there's humans in Switzerland with flexibility problems, it's the same way in California, in Australia, in Denmark. So that's where we have now a pile of problems, and we ask ourselves, okay, in my roadmap, what is it that I can pull out the shiniest object in there that we teach in our roadmap, and I can aim it at those people that have flexibility problems? Because what I also found out about flexibility people that have inflexibility is they typically take these types of medicines, or they go to these types of restaurants, or they eat this type of food, or they watch these gurus, read these magazines, drive these types of cars, wears these types of watches, follow these types of people, go to these types of schools. Those are all options that we can run our ads to. And so it's kind of like right now, if I wanted to find a large group of super wealthy, on average wealthy people, I would go to Switzerland, because that's what they said in that video. They said Switzerland has the highest concentration of wealthy people in the world, or something like that. So if I wanted to find hammerhead sharks, I could go to a shark expert, and they're like, yeah, you're probably going to find them off the coast of Wimamaju about this time of the year, and they'll be, the water's about. So anybody, martial artist, I bet you hang out with other people that are into Chinese martial arts. So it's like, if I want to sell Bibles, I sit outside of the church, not the atheist bar, right? And it's like, everybody does this. Grass hangs out with grass, leaves hang out with leaves, turtles hang out with turtles. So people that are inflexible, they have their little hangouts. You find them, and they're the same everywhere. It's crazy. And then you can throw your ad in there, and you can bring them into your world this way. You just reverse engineer it thanks to the internet. Look at all these things that are popping up over here. Like, this is crazy. How do I become more flexible for kicks, for taekwondo, for fighting, as a dancer, in your hips, for basketball, for football? How to become more flexible for, it comes up with all the, look, does that cheer, golf, ballet, all these things that are in Switzerland too, I think. And but this is it's like, okay, there's probably a bunch. Do you guys golf? For crying out loud, you golf, right? Yes, you'd have to if you got a bunch of rich people over there. So maybe, look, golf flexibility training. I love it. I gotta see it. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Start your golf forever free 7-day. So this is terrible. No, I don't even know where to look. You see what I mean? Like, you go to my landing page, it's like you can't screw it up. Like, martialartsgrowth.com, if you come here, it's like, boom, install our machines to get more martial arts students with less. See how it works. You click it, more martial arts students with less. How to grow a martial arts business. See, there is no goofing around. Like, it's straight to it. It says learn, poof. Pop this in here. You go to the next page. And then for the example of this lead magnet thing that I've been telling you about, this other one, let's go to Ultimate Student Magnet. Poof. Discover the exact steps martial arts business owners are using to get 38 plus new students in less than 30 days. This is all true, because I have clients that have done more than that actually in 30 days using this process. New one-page template and training for martial arts business owners, okay? Without tech overwhelm, because that's what everybody, the tech stuff, I don't get it. Without wasting money on ads. I've tried ads, I just lost without having to work a second job. That's the other one. They're like, I love martial arts, but I hate having to have a second job. So I found that. I put that in there, okay? Who's it for? Martial arts business owners. Without changing a single thing about your current marketing system. I hired these other guys, but then they made me change all this stuff. I'm not making you change anything. I'm just going to show you what works and what you can do. Click here to get instant access. Poof. Come in here, okay? Mike at, I'll use my old email. Oh, that's wrong place. All right, so let's go here. Mike, unlock free training. Bam, look what's here. A 2-hour video. Look, scribbling on here, showing them how this whole thing works. Look, they can download the template or they can click this button and look. They can schedule a call. How does it work? You're a martial arts coach, business owner, or martial arts experts wanting to create online course, looking to launch a high-ticket course or coaching program so you can exponentially expand your brand, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Pick a time. We'll book a call. Here's some results from other people. There's that 38 in 21 days. Okay, here's my other client. So I'm like trying to seed it in. They come down all the way to the bottom. Click this. Brings them back up here. On we go. Got the retargeting pixels hitting. So if I don't continue, like I'm not going to, it'll be like my email will kick in and go, well, he made it to this page, but not the next page. And it'll say, man, you opted in to see this thing and you didn't set an appointment. Why? What did I do wrong? Okay, let's see what happens here. Oh. It just goes straight to the payment. So like, oh, I'm so pumped now. And they're running ads to that. It's insane. Now I'm going to get a bunch of golf stuff. But look, this is a serious thing. Like this golf stretching, this golf thing. Now, you're not teaching golf people. Do you get that? But I will bet you there are hundreds of thousands of golfers. They are crazy people in a good way. They're crazy about what they do. There's probably hundreds of thousands of golfers that also take, martial arts. Guaranteed. I know a couple myself. Yeah, so that's the point. What I'm making is like, are you okay if 15 golfers in Switzerland sign up to take your school, in your course? Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying is you can help anybody if you think about the first thing you got to do is, let me get back here and then I'm going to go eat I got to go eat. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Once you have that and once you lay out your blueprint here, you're off to the races. Because now it's just setting up that funnel, that simple funnel. It's 4 pages. Okay, it's ClickFunnels, Activecampaign, Calendly. You can figure this stuff out. Okay, it'll be slower. You'll probably make more mistakes, and it'll be a little bit more frustrating. But you can do this on your own. Okay, I could probably somehow learn martial arts through books and videos. It'd just take a long time, probably be frustrating, be expensive because I'd be going through all this time that I'd not be able to get back. People think when I talk about expensive, it's going to be expensive. They're like, oh, it ain't that much to do. And I'm like, your time. I have this thing. You might want to do this too. A buddy showed me this and it works good. It's called the life clock. I am 36. Well, I will be next month. And if I zoom out here, if I live to 100 years old, so see, this is January through December. If I live to be 100, all I have left is these red blocks. That's all I got left. Now, some people think that's morbid, but to me, makes my ass get to work. Okay? So that, it's like, wow, that's not a lot of blocks. But it just keeps me focused, and I'm like, you know what? I only have this many red blocks left. I got to get to work. And it's the same way with your people. Like, he wants to go golf. He wants to go do this. It's critical. That's how you get students. It's not talking about like these common things. You're going to get a certain amount of people with, we help you with confidence and self-defense. But that runs out pretty quick. And it's like, you need to work on that core problem that you solve. And you need to be able to talk to it in a certain way. You need to be able to say this right here. Oh my gosh, this stupid sound thing. cannot believe this. I've never had this trouble. Okay, so what you need to do is I help X to Y without Z so they can W. Okay? So first you got to do the increase decrease. Then you've got to write this thing. You've got to create your it's your 3 levels. So you got raw materials, the machine, or the trunk, the branches, apples. Okay? So the raw materials, the machine, and then traffic. Okay? Then I've got 3 steps in each level. Each step has 3 actions. Okay? That'll get you started. That'll get you, and that's all you need. It's all I've been running off of. Once you have that, then you can go find all the people that have the problem that you solve, and you can replace this X with any of those people. What are you going to help them do? It needs to have a metric to it. It's got to have a timeline. When am I going to get it done? Without these struggles that are the top 3 struggles that we have, so that they can have this transformation. That's your message, okay? That's your message. This gets strapped to everything. You're going to use the same messaging framework for everything. I help inflexible golfers become more flexible in 1 hour per day and completely able to full out do their golf swing in less than 21 days without having to sign up for some therapy doctor that's going to cost too much, go to some silly gym and trainer, or spend countless hours at some physical therapist office, so that you can actually get out there and smell that nature and see that hole-in-one happen with your friends and cheer with them and fly around in the golf carts drunk and you talk about the transformation. You don't just say that they're flexible. You're going to be more so that you can swing your golf club, because it's not that. It's so you can have the best golf score you've ever had without going, oh, after every swing. Like, that's what you talk about. So when you get done playing your golf game, you can crawl in bed with your wife and all that. So that's what you got to tie it to that. And then you could say the same thing. You could be like, I help motivated college football players retain their rigidity or whatever they need. That's how you're problem focused. Now you just open yourself up to tons of people. I didn't know that Kung Fu or Chinese martial arts, I don't know which one you're doing, but I didn't know that Chinese martial arts could help me be a better football player. Would you let 50 football players pay you what you want to be paid every single month if you could help them? Of course. Of course you would. And that's how you do it. People like Tylenol. Can you imagine if how bad it would be if Apple's like, we only sell computers to farmers? It's like, or Porsche's like, we only sell our cars to people that own golden retrievers. It's like, don't cut yourself off like that. Don't limit. Don't think like the only person that would join you in martial arts is somebody that's like. But you got to understand that core problem that you're solving. I don't think I could repeat myself any more than that tonight. So I hope that helped. I mean, I can't, this is about as good as I can do tonight. Yeah, and I'll probably stick this video on YouTube so you guys will have it to check out. Are you guys cool with me putting this on YouTube? Ernest, Patrick, you guys cool with it? All right, awesome. Thank you. What's that, guys? Yeah. Yeah. No, it's like Blockbuster and Red Box, and then Netflix just slapped them all. Cabs and Uber, and like, I mean, it's just crazy, like all these things that you can really, that's why you want to be problem centric, not customer centric. You solve a problem, and then anybody that has this problem you can help, and that opens your doors to a lot. So um so yeah, well guys, listen, I'm excited that you guys found value. I'm glad that you guys have been jumping on the emails and seeing that, so that we could have this time. And if you guys ever, want to, I got to throw this in there. If you guys do want to jump on a strategy session or something like that, you just go to martialartsgrowth.com/apply. It's that simple. You can schedule a call, and then I'll literally do like a diagnostic breakdown here with you. And I won't pitch anything to you on that call unless you want me to. Okay? So, there is. It's and your customers are the same. Like, they, once they meet you, Patrick, and they feel your passion, once they meet you, Ernest, and they feel your passion, they see you explaining just even a chunk of it, or just giving an overview like I did here tonight, it changes everything. Because then, even if they don't become your customer, you have to understand the impact of, like, when you go watch a good movie, what do? God, dude, you got to go watch it. And this really happens, and it really works, and you guys know that. But sometimes we can try to make it more complex than what it is. Most guys won't come on and do this because, number one, they just don't care enough to do it, or they don't want to spend the time to do it. But our results are probably different too. So the thing that I've learned is, well, it's just my favorite quote from Zig Ziglar, always has been: if you help everybody else solve their problems, you don't have to worry about yours. And it's been completely true in ways that I couldn't imagine. So same thing that you guys need to do with yours. And I'll tell you what, this is why it's so important that you do something that you actually love to do, because I lost track of time tonight. I don't know how long I've been on here. I know it's close to 3 hours or 3.5 hours now, but that's why it's so important that you find that thing that you're really super crazy about. And then these are the 9 steps. I don't care who you go to, what guru you find, what anything. And if you found something that's cool, go do it. And then if it doesn't work, come back. Like, I'll be here. But this is it. I don't care what you sell or how you sell it or where you're selling or what, if it's service, products, B2B, B2C. This is it. This is the system right here. If you hear any other kind of system, you're either just hearing a part of this, or you're hearing them and they renamed it something different, like I've done here, because these are the words I like. So you just use a thesaurus and we can switch this all up in a few minutes. But that's it, okay? Like, I don't want you to think about anything else. I don't want you to get screenshot this, whatever you want to do with it. So yeah. So all right. Well, listen, from Switzerland, Ernest, where are you at? Toronto, Canada. Awesome. So we got Canada, Kansas, and Switzerland in the house. This is awesome. I'm excited. Well, very good. Well, I'll send, as soon as I get this recording down and everything, I'll throw it on the internet, and then I'll send it out to the whole list so everybody can check it out. And I appreciate you guys letting me use this, and I am very happy that we got to spend this time. What time is it in Switzerland? Holy God. I, I am like so impressed with you, man. That is so awesome. That is like so crazy awesome. Well, go to sleep. The always, if you can, always add a countdown, but don't ever add one that's not real. I've been guilty of those in the past, because like in my early days, it was like, you put it, scarcity, but only use it when you can actually use it and it's real. And it's just a great extra thing. Like it's if you can, it's like if you can add that element in there, it is so much more powerful than not. If you have the choice, then do it, right? It's like same with the headlines. If you can just say it, or you can add the metric in there. How much in what time period without what frustration. If you can add that, just adding that mixture to your thing, you will see 10x the results, if not more. Anytime that you create something, okay, if I leave you with I want to leave you with 2 core rules here, okay? And then we will go. Let Patrick go to sleep. Let Ernest, I'm sure it's late there too. It's late here. 10:30. Yeah, it is 9:30 here. Here is the 2 rules. Rule number 1. Don't break these rules, okay? Rule number 1 is don't ever produce something and all we can do is we've got video, we've got audio, we've got text, and we have image. These are the only ways that we can do things, okay? We can only talk to our people through these means. Okay. Don't ever create any of these things right here that we can do. Don't ever create a piece of anything that goes out to your marketplace that does not live within your product. And always, whenever you describe something in your, well, it would be in your product because you don't do it unless it lives in the product. But if you're not describing the whole product, always, let's say you're just describing this part, always come back and show context of where that little bit fits into the product. And the second rule, which we have not talked about tonight, I'm going to give it to you anyway, is the 6F framework. Okay, you guys have probably been wondering what that is. Whenever you create a video, an audio, a text, or an image, or anything, and you're describing something that is in your product, you should, if I ever hear anybody talking about their business and they're not talking out of something that lives in their product, I'm just scared for them. But you should always be able to relate it back to where it lives in that process that can't be done the other way, like the apple and the tree thing, okay, the apple and the trunk and the branch. You should always be able to say, but this is this part, and you can't get to the overarching thing that we solve here unless you do it. But here's the 6F. Forecast. This is how you write. Like when you're creating a video, when you're creating an audio, when you're creating text, when you're creating images, just use this framework. I don't care if you're creating an email. I literally just write these out like this. I'll show you what I do. But it's forecast, facts, okay, friction, all right, frame, okay, forecast. So this right here. Whoops, let me zoom this out here. When you're getting ready to do a piece of content, a video or whatever, here's what you're going to learn. So in forecast, what's in it for me? That's all you're answering that question for them. Why should I watch this? What's in it for me? Facts. How do I know this is true? Okay. Every time that you create an audio, a video, a text, or images, or anything, and you're creating any piece of content, email, videos, I don't care if it's free, paid, your course, anything, you can look up 1,000 different copywriting things, or you can just understand that this is all you need to understand, okay? So, this is formula, I'm sorry. Got them backwards. This is frame. This is fast action. Okay. So, answer these questions. Stupid thing. Hold on. I have no idea why this is doing that. Okay. So, friction is, what are my 3 struggles? Answer that, okay? You're always doing this. Formula, what, not how, but what are the 3 steps to get X? Whatever it is that you're forecasting here, whatever this piece of content was about, okay? Keep it to 3 because our brain just works better like that, in rules of 3, okay? You know, just do it, right? Like red, blue, green. Like we remember things better this way. Okay, what are the 3 steps to get X? You're just going to take them through the 3 steps to get to it. The frame is, how does this fit into the bigger picture? Okay, so if you're pulling out just that little piece, this is where you always bring it back and give them context onto where this lives. Okay? And then fast action, what do I do now? What do you want them to do? Opt in, email you, purchase, do a call. Okay? This is all you ever have to worry about right here. This is it. When you're creating copy, you follow this format right here. This is how our brain works. Okay? So just follow this. Always, it's cool when you have your roadmap here and your product figured out, because now you never, it's everything. It's all your blog posts. Pull a piece out of there, talk about it. Relate it to the problem. Okay? Got YouTube video, just pull it out, you know, find out what people are, you know, talking about on the YouTubes, and just, and how do you do that? Start typing a phrase that you think that they would type, and they'll fill in the rest on there. That's the title of your video. How do you do your video? Right here, 6F. All right, that's the rule. Don't break those rules and you'll be in good shape. Get you a process. Okay. And if you want my help, just go to the martialarts.com, martialartsgrowth.com/apply, and I will help you. I'll just put it on here. It's my shameless plug. You know, I have my process go out like every 72 hours. I have, because I'm always creating content just because I love to create content, like people love to golf. I just like this stuff. I don't know why. It's nerdy. It's weird. I think part of it is I like it because it pays really well. But number 2, I really do. I did this when I was flat broke. Okay. I just love the idea that you can take your self or whatever, and you can help people and get everything that you want in life. It's really cool. Like there's producers and consumers, you know? And for the record, consumers want to avoid pain and producers want to gain something. So when you're talking about, you know, when you're doing your message, it's to give you an example, a business owner would want to learn 3 ways that they could boost their mind power so that they could overcome anxiety. And a consumer would want to avoid anxiety altogether and never have it again, or 0 cravings of something. Or something. Like producers, like, okay, so just keep that in mind when you're talking to, make sure you understand if they're a consumer or producer, you talk to them about gaining or losing or avoiding, sorry. But no, the emails, sometimes I get a little email crazy and I like come up with different ideas and things, and I send out like back-to-back emails, and I probably shouldn't do that, but I do. So, but you know, you can't ever help enough. You can't help too much. You just got to make sure you're helping and not like being a pest, you know. I have fun with it. Yeah, have fun with it. And then this is the SFS. That's the 7-figure sentence. I help niche to get gain or metric timeline without struggles so that they can experience this transformation. Make your headlines using this all the time and your messages for everything. And then when you go to actually produce the content, just follow this here. And that's the rule, man. Just do that. And just doing that, even if you did it sloppy backwards without a system upside down, you're going to get results. All right, you guys, go to sleep, get a good night's sleep, get some sleep, have fun. Hope you guys stay safe. Thank you. You too, you as well. And that's cool though. That's awesome, man. I'm really excited for you, Ernest. I'm glad you guys got on here. I'm glad that we had a chance to hang out. And Natalie Aviv, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that, but we are heading out. This will be a replay. You'll see it in your email, so just hang tight and you'll see it. I appreciate you letting me put this on the YouTubes and everything. And thank you guys both. I wish you all the best. We will probably meet again here in the future, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and night. You guys take care. Bye. All right. All right. Have success, you guys. We'll see you. Bye-bye.